Hey, we are live.
We did it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Lorebeards 40,000. My name is Ross Watson. This is my co-host, Alexis, Norn Queen Alexis. We're very excited to join you guys today because in the grim darkness of the far future,
there is only war.
That's right.
Woo. And war never changes.
Oh, different. That's a different.
I know. I wanted to just make that joke.
Okay. So, we are the Lorebeards on this channel for Warhammer 40,000. You probably don't know us super well, but that's one of the things we're going to fix today.
They're probably way more familiar with you than they think.
Oh, that's possibly true. That's possibly true. But today we're going to talk about what is Warhammer 40,000. But before we get into that, let's talk about who we are, right? So that people know what's up.
It took me a really long time to figure out who I was.
I'm sure that's true. But for the audience, for the audience, Norn Queen Alexis, why don't you tell them who you are and what you're about?
Alrighty, so I am Norn Queen Alexis. I am a avid gamer, cosplayer, and I make videos on my own channel under Norn Queen Alexis. I am mostly known for being a bit of a brat when it comes to Warhammer, and I like to play the game in a more competitive environment as well as playing narrative events. I host multiple events here in Iceland, and I just like to play the game and have some fun with it, And the lore itself is what really drew me to this game. The Sisters of Battle are what really got me into here. And then from there, I started reading a couple of books, and then I started collecting a few armies, and now my pile of shame is my entire cellar, and I don't know what to do about that. But, that's a problem for another day. It's a pile of opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I wish I had more minis painted. So unlike Alexis, I am not in the top number of Grand Tournament players in my country.
No. I'm only in top 5 in Iceland. But
that's
there's still a lot of us here.
That's still pretty damn great. So I've been a game designer and an author for over 20 years with Warhammer. I've worked on Warhammer related stuff in a lot of different areas. You probably know me best. You probably know me best as the lead developer or lead designer of Dark Heresy, Rogue Trader, Deathwatch. I worked on Only War. I also did some work on a lot of 40K video games, and I worked directly at Games Workshop on the White Dwarf team for a few years. So
that comment is really funny.
Can you bring
I'll grab it.
Yeah, let's grab a couple of super chats. Maybe had a bit too much cider today, but do Andy and Sotek look a little different today, guys? Yes, we do. We look very different because we're not Andy and Sotek. We're Alexis and Ross. There's another one here.
Sorry, I clicked it.
No problem. Welcome. Happy to have you two. Thank you, guys.
Well,
we appreciate it. Yeah, we're really glad to be here. This has been something that Alexis and I are really excited to get into and talk to you guys about.
And we had to get this one.
For the space fish. Looking forward to the VOD.
I'm still saying that's the Shaharadan from Rogue Trader. They've never been mentioned ever since, but they're there.
First super chat of the channel. Not quite, but really close. Alexis, when you say, what was that species that you were talking about?
Shaharadan.
They
have a mention in the Rogue Trader book, and then in the Rogue Trader RPG mentions them as just in the list of extended human subspecies.
Interesting.
So, and the only model we have for them is this weird, freaky fish thing that they labeled as it, but it's also labeled as several other creatures because early miniatures did that with a whole bunch of models.
Well, we're going to get into a lot of that stuff.
Like the Tyrannids.
On this show, we're going to cover a lot of stuff about Warhammer 40K. So, we need to talk about what is Warhammer 40K? What is it? Right. Go ahead.
All right. So Warhammer 40K is a tabletop. Well, I'll talk about the tabletop version of it, and you can do way more into the lore of it. But Warhammer 40K is a tabletop role-playing game where two grown idiots argue with each other, throw some dice, and then one eventually declares themselves the winner.
Well,
jokes aside, Warhammer 40K is a tabletop war game played between two players who bring together models that they have built and painted and lore that justifies their army being there, battling it out in epic small-scale battles between like the most pinnacle moments of war. Like when Abaddon is facing up against Guilliman and they meet in the middle, and it's a ton of fun.
So Warhammer 40,000 it's a universe, really. It's a setting, and it takes place in the year or around the year 40,000, which is why the number is important. It's when we say the grim darkness of the far future, it's very, very far future. And
heck, we don't even know what time it is anymore.
I mean, that's true. But so 40K is a huge universe. It spans miniature games like Alexis was talking about. It does comic books, novels, video games, board games. There's been a ton of different ways to engage with.
Even tattoos.
Oh, yeah. Cosplay. You should see, by the way, she's going to have her Sister Battle cosplay at some point on the show, and it's amazeballs. So yes, there's a lot of really good stuff to cover out there. Hey, we've got another message here. I hope this message finds you well. I'm pulling for Skaven in 40K. I hope that's a topic in the future. Excited for all future content.
So that is definitely on our list because we want to talk about the Corellian dog soldiers.
Tyrellian dog soldiers. They're more lizards. Tyrellians are more lizards than rats, but we will happily get into stuff. So just so you know, this is kind of our core show is on Saturdays, and then on Wednesdays we're planning to have kind of a more open, like, let's talk about weird stuff, tier lists, things like Skaven and 40K would be perfect for that. When talking about the Emperor's situation, I think of the coin speech from Legacy of Kain. That coin is still whirring on the pavement for 10,000 years. I'm not familiar with Legacy of Kain. Are you?
Oh my God, you need to play it.
Okay.
That is a whole lot of lore that we can't get into here.
Fair enough. But we are here to talk about like all things 40K. We will get to it, I promise you. So something that's important to mention here is that 40K is actually space fantasy. It's not really science fiction.
I did a video series on my channel where I went over this with a military historian, and we actually talked about the hard science of Warhammer, and we found it to be laughably bad. Unfortunately, Ross, you're getting some flack for this, but when GW writers talk about actual war, they kind of have no idea what's happening. It is a fantasy. It is, think of it like how Star Wars is Japanese history. Warhammer 40K is just this fantasy-esque battle between daddy issues. But we talked about if Space Marine ceramite armor would actually be able to stop a 50 cal bullet. The answer is no.
Well,
a 50 cal sails right through a Space Marine.
Okay, so to be clear,
this is real world physics,
right? So 40K is space fantasy, and in the universe of 40K, of course, power armor can stand up to 50 caliber rounds.
Oh yeah, it bounces right off of them. It has no AP.
Well, that's, there's a world where the game mechanics and the lore intersect. And we're going to talk about all of that. There's a whole lot of Venn diagrams when it comes to 40K. There are things that are 40K adjacent, like Necromunda and Space Hulk and Space Marine.
Battlefleet Gothic.
The Horus Heresy. These things are all like part of 40K, but also like just kind of overlapping in those Venn diagram circles. All right, we forgot. Somebody's angry hearing that. Yes, most likely. The thing is, 40K is a setting that's fascinated fans for 38 years. Came out in 87. It means some people love it, some people hate it, some people both love and hate it. There's things that I think everybody kind of loves, and some things that I think a lot of people kind of hate. But it all kind of comes together and crashes up against each other with these fan communities that we are part of. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to discuss all of it. And I'm going to say, like, for me, like, there's very little that I hate and a whole lot that I love. So
for me, I kind of like it all. Like, I even love the Tau. Like, I love that they're becoming more evil as writers write more lore for them, and I'm there for it.
So something that's important to mention is, like, when you talk about what is Warhammer 40,000, there's not really good guys. There's protagonists, it's antagonists, but there's not really good guys like we think of them. There are some people who have strong moral codes. There's some people who have heroic tendencies. But by and large, 40K is a setting full of bad guys, full of darkness, full of grim darkness.
The way I love describing Warhammer is that it is the most evil universe that could possibly exist, with the dumbest government ever running each and every single faction. None of them can agree on anything, and all of them hate each other.
I mean, that's true. So actually, if you've heard the term grimdark before, this is where it comes from. Warhammer 40,000 is the originator, the generator of that term, grimdark. So some other things we should talk about is this is like a massive iceberg. We're just barely scratching the surface in this first episode. So everything we talk about here, there's layers and layers and depths, and we're going to get into that because I've worked on a whole bunch of stuff that dives into those things. Alexis, she is extremely knowledgeable about the more recent stuff and going to help me out there.
Aaron Dominus, I got you.
Yeah, there are, I mean, you can break down 40K into a lot of different categories, but in terms of like timelines, you've got basically the Horus Heresy era, the post-Heresy era, and the most recent one is called the Era Indomitus, which takes place after the fall of Cadia. It started in 2018, so we're just 8 years into it.
It's definitely not the end times of 40K.
So what's the percentage of the iceberg that is just the heresy? Quite a bit.
Yeah.
The Horus Heresy is like the foundation that everything's built on, which is kind of wild.
Which is weird because the Horus Heresy started out as a passing comment in the original Chaos book for 40K.
It was like a paragraph.
Yeah, and Lehman Russ was just a captain. Horus was just a guy. Like, he wasn't a Primarch or anything. The Primarchs are all like, they were made in what, 3rd edition, really? Where they started becoming actual like Primarchs?
Well, Primarchs were definitely mentioned in 2nd edition. They were in if you look at the Angels of Death Codex and things like that.
Yeah, sorry. 2nd edition.
2nd edition is kind of where it really fleshed it, started fleshing it out. It didn't get, anyway, long story short, we'll do a whole show on the Horus Heresy and where that came from. Getting a little, we don't want to get too crazy here, but question for Ross. What do you think of the Alcat games for Rouge Trader, and the upcoming Dark Heresy, since you were involved in the originals? And for that, thank you. Since I love them, you're welcome. Thank you. I really appreciate these kind of comments. I love Alcat games. I played the absolute crap out of Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous. I'm excited to play some Rogue Trader, and I'm excited as hell to play some Dark Heresy. So I'm glad these guys are doing it. Hey, check this out. Sometimes we forget 40K is actually a post-apocalyptic setting. Technically true. But we forget because of the numbers and spaceships. Everyone has fallen from the pinnacle, except the Tau and Tyrannids getting started. Tau are definitely getting started.
I actually, here's where I disagree. I think Tau are a post-apocalyptic civilization, but we just didn't see their apocalypse.
I mean, there's a lot going on with the Tau. There's a lot. And probably more than we could get into here, but yeah, we're going to talk about them, guys. Don't you worry.
I have so much on the Tau. I love that they're murdering everybody now. I love that they don't have a god, but their followers have a god, and that they're trying to kill all their followers now because that thing scared them.
So don't get discouraged by the idea of grimdark. I want to be clear about that. 40K is a setting that is both weird and silly It is grim and dark and cool and rad as hell, and all of those things are true at the same time. It's got killer clowns from outer space. It's got spaceships that travel through hell to get across interstellar distances, and much, much, much more.
It's literally got ghost marines.
Yeah, it's got
and
the
angels
Legion,
sometimes.
Legion of the Damned. Yeah. So there's a lot to get into. It's not just one tone, although there is kind of a guiding tone. But there's a lot of space in between. If anybody's read the Caiaphas Cain books, for example, they're actually really good examples of comedy and heroism in a grimdark setting.
Although we do have to talk about Warhammer and, it being a satire. Like,
well, it started that way.
Yeah, it definitely started, and it somewhat maintains it, but not as much anymore.
So,
but that needs to be mentioned when it comes to Warhammer.
Very good point. Very good point. And we will do I want to do a whole show on satire with 40K.
Oh yeah.
But let's say this as well. So we as Lorebeards, right? Like what we do is we bring our personal experience, we bring our history, our connections, and a lot of brain power, because Alexis is super smart, to this show.
I am.
And, yeah. And some of the stuff, like I've written stuff that's become 40K canon.
Smart.
And we both know people that have created a lot of this material. So it's not like we're just talking. We're not just a couple of fans out here. We're people that have a deep, close personal relationship with the IP. Go ahead, Alexis.
Weirdly enough, I actually met my fiance through Warhammer. In fact, it was through Dark Heresy, 2nd edition. He wanted to run a game. I met him through said game. It was confusing me because he got a personal email address and not my actual email. It was very weird. But yeah, we hit it off, and Warhammer has been the core part of our relationship. It's been great.
This guy's got a great comment here. He says, "So I have a big question. Where's the Warhammer in Warhammer 40K?"
Okay. Once John Warhammer collects the 40,000 Warhammers, he can defeat Horus Heresy and save the Sanguinius.
Mornington Crescent says, "You pronounced the name wrong. It's Caiaphas Cain, hero of the Imperium." You are correct, sir. I did leave off his official title. But always know that is like, even if it's unsaid, it's there. Like, Cain is absolutely a hero of the Imperium.
It's in the small text next to his name.
So we are authorities of a sort. But that means that we can get things wrong because we're just human. We will do our research and we have a lot of experience, but we will screw stuff up from time to time. And just keep that in mind, that it is something that will happen. We will forget something or we'll look it up. I promise you that if we do screw it up and you let us know, we will find a way to get that into the show and deal with it.
Also, since it is Warhammer, I could be strongly believing something that I have a source from, and then Ross could be like, well, here's another source that says you're wrong. And both things can be true.
Exactly. We so we are Lorebeards, right? We know what we're talking about, but we're not going to be infallible. And it's also important to point out that Games Workshop is the ultimate authority. So if they come along and change something that we believe was true or we knew was true at a certain time, that can change. You might watch this 10 years from now and be like, what you guys are talking about is completely wrong. Games Workshop decided this. Yeah, that could happen.
Yep.
So okay, quick comment here. By the way, thank you. For
oh my God, thank you.
Super chat. Really big thanks. That's good start for us. This is probably too much for an episode 1 intro, almost likely, almost certainly. But what thoughts do you have about the political power of Marine chapters, considering they can have their own religion?
Oh my God.
Taxes, inner treaties, etc. It is a shock. Only half of chapters left.
Oh my God. Okay. Hear me out on this. I have done a deep dive into this because lieutenants that control the Astra Militarum technically outrank Space Marines. And usually they are war masters of their sector of that battle. But Space Marines sit outside of that, and they have to make treaties with the Space Marines to actually get them to come. Now, a lot of Space Marines will come because of oaths and things like that, or they want to purge the enemy, or they want to do something. But sometimes the lords of those planets can actually reject the Space Marines' help. So it really depends on the relationship between the current governmental system of the planet or system that's being attacked and the Space Marine chapter. I wanted to do I could do an entire rant on this for like 4 hours, and this is going to be a huge topic we talk about because this is my passion. It's logistics and like, oh my God, the politics of Warhammer. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Like,
go ahead.
For instance, in Space Marine 1, Lieutenant Mira, who all of her generals were dead, so she was technically the War Master of that particular battle sector. Keep in mind, War Master doesn't mean War Master like we think of War Master Horus. War Master is just a title given to the current general of the army, like we had War Master Krieg for Cadia. She was the active War Master until the fleets arrived and, they took over. But she actually outranked Titus, but she never gave Titus an order. She asked Titus to do something, and then Titus did it.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I could go off on this.
The short version is War Master is a title that is I don't think you're using it quite right. It's a title that's given by the Lords of Terra. So
well, no, that's the War Master General of the entirety of these fleets.
No, but that's not how it works. I'm sorry.
Really? No, because I have the magazine that actually goes through the lore of Space Marine 2 and actually declares her a War Master.
Well, suffice to say, there's a lot going on here, and one of the easiest things to start with is that
or just consider her a general at this point.
Well, so the Imperium of Man is kind of the lens through which we see most of 40K. They are generally the protagonist of stories told about Warhammer 40K. And in the Imperium of Man, there are so many subdivisions, like tons. It's like heavy metal, and there's like 500 types of heavy metal, subdivisions of heavy metal. Same is true for the Imperium. And each division has kind of their own rank structure. An Astro Militarum lieutenant could never give orders to Space Marines. Just they don't. They're separate silos. The rank doesn't matter because they're in separate silos.
Krieg did give commands to Space Marine chapters.
They accepted those commands. It doesn't mean that he can tell them what to do. It's different. Anyway, so this is a topic we will get into. I promise you, Mr. Turnpike 04, we will definitely get into it. Lots to go through here. Hey, we got another one here. So when will you two battle Andy and Sotek to the death in a 40K versus fantasy who would win episode?
Oh,
that would be a fun Wednesday show. Actually,
that would be actually. Yeah, I'd be up for that.
I think I could take Andy if in a wrestling. If we get, I outweigh him. He's scrawny, but I've got the mass advantage. But I don't know about Ryan. Ryan probably kicked my butt.
Don't worry, I got him.
I don't know. So that is kind of like we've just sort of barely touched on like what is 40K. There's so much more to get into, but it is a setting, or it's the 40,000. It's a year 40,000. The Imperium of Man is our general protagonist, and we see through their eyes. The Imperium is a galaxy spanning civilization. It covers 1 million worlds or more. And it is constantly in a state of flux. Some worlds are getting destroyed. Some worlds are getting settled. Some worlds are getting rediscovered. Some worlds are getting lost in the warp. So that number, that 1 million worlds number, is a estimate that fluctuates depending on the day of the week, frankly. And the Imperium as a civilization is possibly the most oppressive and brutal regime ever imagined. It is ludicrously bad for everyone underneath it. And has to do with a lot of reasons, part of which is it started out as a satire of Thatcherism. Secondly, it became a satire of fascism, and then it became like its own thing. And it's founded on religion and hierarchy and an absolute crushing disdain for individualism.
Yeah. There's the one saying, no matter who you are in the universe, when you die, no one will remember you.
It is a setting for a very long time, until the era Indomitus. The way that you would describe Warhammer 40K is that it was kind of a setting that was 5 minutes to midnight, and everybody was trying to hold back that ticking arm on the clock from going one more tick towards midnight. The era Indomitus changed a lot of that. So now, 40K is in a much more dynamic era than it used to be. It was for a while, a long time, it was very stagnant. In some ways, that's good. Like some people really prefer the pre-era Indomitus. Some people prefer post-era Indomitus. Some people prefer the Horus Heresy. I know I love the Horus Heresy. Look at my hat.
Do you like me some Horus Heresy?
Horus Heresy is freaking great. No wonder the galaxy's been at war for millennia. Turnpike 44 again. Everyone in the Imperium has good reason to disobey orders.
Yeah. Well, like one of my favorite things in Warhammer is like even the people who seem like they're helping you, like, hey guys, let's all join a union. Don't worry about why Bob has 3 arms. Just join us. Come closer. Walk down these dark alleys. Workers' rights. And it's like, it's this horrific galaxy where no matter what you do, no matter who you are, you're just going to die. Like, I love it. I love this setting so much. Unless you're a named character, then you're invincible. Unless you're Yarick.
I mean, sometimes
you get killed off screen.
Sometimes named characters do die. Sometimes named characters get messed with. I mean, there is no guarantee of survival, even for named characters. Let's put it that way.
That is true. That is true. There are some named characters that outlive others.
We got some super chats here. Hey, Vigarian, $5 Canadian. Thank you very much. Where would you say is a good place for new people to start lore-wise, or are more casual in their enjoyment of IPs since 40K is fast and unforgiving?
I have 2 suggestions immediately. You go to your local used bookstore. If you have one, please support local bookstores. And you pick up a Caiaphas Cain omnibus, or you pick up Eisenhorn. Those are hands down the best ways to start Warhammer because they capture the essence perfectly.
If you don't want to read novels, there's some really good videos by Warhammer community. You can find them on YouTube or Warhammer Plus, and they're really good places to start as well. And if you want to just start playing the game, go to your local game store, hobby store, or Games Workshop store, and there's usually someone there who can get you in on that.
And if you're looking to start the hobby but you don't want to invest right away, go and check out your local game stores because they typically have things like swap meets, bit trades, or painting days where you can get free miniatures and learn how to paint from people.
Or Space Marine 1 is also a really great introduction.
Yeah, and that game is like what, $5 on Steam?
That's
amazing.
It's not bad. We've got another one here. Super Orlok. Hey, that's a Necromunda term. $4.99. It says the Chaos Gods being the only gods of 40K. Not true. Means that they are the correct faction. Yes, officer, this is word bearer armor. Okay, look, I see you, word bearer. I see
he is just preaching the truth.
The primordial truth.
Look, if it isn't in the warp, then it's outer gods. We don't like those things.
40K does have a lot of, again, we talked about this weird and silly stuff. And one of the weirder things about 40K is there are actual factual gods. The Eldar have their own gods. The Orcs have their own gods. There are chaos gods. You could argue that the Imperium, the Emperor is a god.
In fact, that's actually a plot point in Godblight. It's a really good book.
There's lots of gods, not just the chaos gods. But I see the cut of your jib, sir, and I like it.
The Catan also.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe the Hive Mind is also debated to be a god by the Eldar.
Kuranshima 3912 says, thank you, by the way, if Big E, meaning the Emperor, had won, do you think the Imperium would be the perfect society as he hoped? Or would it still be terrible based on our standard?
So one of the big flaws of like the Emperor's plan was he thought he planned for the future, but he didn't. He would just find a new enemy or turn on himself. Like there is no way that he would create a society that was out of war. It would just collapse on itself.
Well,
that's always been my thing because he'd want to kill the Primarchs. The Primarchs would rebel and they would fight him.
So according to Malkador, now keep in mind, Malkador is not a reliable narrator, but according to Malkador, the plan was for the Primarchs to run the Imperium. And that the Space Marines would all get wiped out, and it would just be humans under the command of the Primarchs expanding forever.
That would be really cool.
But and I want to make this clear, that is not necessarily mean it would be good, especially based on our standard. And the Emperor, it's important to note here for everyone. You're going to hear me say this a lot, just to be really clear. The Emperor, super smart, super powerful, looks ahead. He sees time in terms of millennia, not centuries, not weeks, not months. He's looking ahead thousands of years. And he is profoundly flawed.
Yeah.
Profoundly flawed. So I would say no matter what, if the Emperor won, it would not be, if there was a greater good, it would not be something that we could see from our perspective. It would be something that only people with the minds like his could probably comprehend. Yeah. And it would look really bad to us, I think, no matter what. As a fan of the series for 25 plus years, I struggle trying to direct new people to it. Hopefully the Amazon series that Henry Cavill's working on is going to be a good launching point, kind of like the Fallout TV series was for Fallout fans. Mm-hmm. There are vectors to get people into 40K, and I really hope that there's some new ones coming down the pipe, like Dawn of War, for example.
Yeah. Is it bad that I just want Henry Cavill to play Nathaniel Garrow?
Nathaniel Garrow is a goddamn hero. He is in my house. He is a hero.
Yeah,
yes. So I would be down with Cavill playing.
That's how you tell the heresy in a short span of time through Nathaniel Garrow.
Garrow or Loken would be good viewpoints. There's Saul Tarvitz. There's a lot of great characters in the heresy that would be good viewpoint characters. But anyways, I hear you, Vigarian. I do. It is not easy. Hopefully there's this hobby and this IP is growing all the time. And
it's getting bigger and bigger. It's great.
They have like kids books for 40K and Warhammer now for Warhammer Fantasy, or Age of Sigmar, I should say.
There are ones for 40K as well, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And a child dies in it. Which I did not expect.
I mean, it's the Grimdark. Grimdark is the far future. That's just going to happen. What do you think it's going to be? I think it's going to be Eisenhorn, because the heresy would need Avenger level budget. You're right. Eisenhorn is a smaller, easier to tell story. It would sure be nice.
It would also be great if he was Caiaphas Cain, just saying.
So to get back to the topic, because I mean, we could read these comments all day and just engage with you guys, which is great. I do love it. But we do have to like cover some of the topic. The Imperium, which is our lens into Warhammer 40K, is constantly under threat. It is always crumbling at the edges. It is always under attack from within and without and beyond. It is the protagonist because it's always trying to be shored up and defended and sustained by all the characters that we know and have names and are relatable to us as the readers, as the enjoyers of the IP. That again doesn't mean the Imperium's the good guy, but it is the lens. So when we talk about stuff, almost everything we know, honestly, about the IP comes through that lens of the Imperium. This is how the Imperium believes things to be. Not always necessarily the truth, but it is how the Imperium believes things to be.
I do wish we would get some more novels from like the Eldar or the Tau point of view. We have a few, but I want more.
Indeed. There are some really good novels out there for 40K. Anybody who reads books and wants to read more of them, the Black Library is chock full. They got you covered. So here's a question. How did you guys get into Warhammer? Zippy Toe Tech 1864 says, my very first introduction was the Maggotkin of Nurgle trailer for Age of Sigmar, though I started with 40K. As such, I've been in the grandfather's embrace ever since.
Well, for me, it was I was young, and I was in high school at the time, and my buddy was like, yo, check out this chain sword. And I'm like, so a chainsaw? How would it be a sword? It's a chainsaw. Changing its shape doesn't do anything. He's like, nah. And he showed me a picture of Sisters of Battle, and I was like, damn, that's cool. And I read up on the Sisters of Battle, and I really wanted to play their army, but they were metal at the time and really hard to get, and no store carried them. And I eventually bought my first box set, split it with my friend, which was the Battle for Macragge, which, if any of you remember, is a horrific box set to start the game with. So I started with Space Marines.
Yeah, so I have a very similar story. I started at the end of second edition. I got into a couple of games there, and then third edition launched with that box set with the Black Templars and the Dark Eldar, and I jumped on that. So yeah, Space Marines also for me. Although the Eldari now is what they're called, Space Elves. They're so rad. And when I found out that they use robots powered by the ghosts of their dead, I was like, this is so metal, and I love it, and I need to know more. So that was my vector in was through that, and then once I found the God's Ghost novels, I was done. Forget it. I was like,
yeah, the God's Ghost novels are really good. That's another series that I recommend to new readers of Warhammer. Either that or the Dawn of Fire series is now really good. Let's see. What other book series would you recommend to a beginner?
I
mean, Godblight is really good.
I don't know. Like, I would have to look into it a little more because
there is one, Horus Rises.
Horus Rising that's great for the Horus Heresy. I'm not sure it's the best 40K introduction. But again, there are great. The Warhammer community has some really great videos on this subject.
Or just play some of the video games.
That wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah.
So speaking of video games, Space Marine 2 is the most recent one, I think. Dawn of War is coming along the line.
Yeah, Dawn of War 4 is coming soon, and I'm so excited about that.
I worked on a couple of 40K video games back in the day. If you've ever played Regicide, or if you've ever played Battlefleet Gothic Armada, the first one, I wrote a huge chunk of both of those. So
I love Battlefleet Gothic Armada 1. It is by far one of my favorite games.
Moises Murillo 8248 gives us $2 and didn't say anything. So if you have something you want to actually say with that, please let us know. We'll put it up.
Yep.
Play Rogue Trader. This is not a request. Love it.
Yep.
Love it. Want to do that. Schwarzaj, $2. Dawn of Fire is good? ? Okay, getting that on Audible.
It is good, but it is a slog to get through. I will warn you about that. It has really good parts, and then it goes really good again, and then it's still really good. Prophet of the Wa, oh my god, yes.
So we were talking about how the Imperium is always under attack from inside, outside, and beyond. When you talk about attack from beyond, like, what does that mean? Well, there's this separate reality called the warp. It's a dimension that overlaps and overlays on our own. And in the warp is kind of a realm of metaphor and spirit. It's where psychic powers draw their energy from. It's a place where anything supernatural in 40K tends to kind of relate to. And ships use the warp, the Imperium anyway, uses the warp to travel by interstellar distances. This is why we were saying that they ride through hell, because they basically poke a hole in the warp, they travel through the warp a short distance, and they poke another hole, and they're back in the real world, but much further away than when they started. The warp is also how the Imperium sends messages over interstellar distances using guys called astropaths or astrotelepaths.
Which is definitely not taken from Dune.
There is so much Dune. Oh my God. 40K is built on a foundation of a lot of different things, but Dune is a major brick in that foundation. So there's the warp, but also there's things called demons, which are denizens of the warp, also known as the Neverborn, occasionally called that. Demons exist in the warp. They're creatures that are inimical to humanity, to basically everyone, really, but it's not themselves. And there's also these things called the Chaos Gods, which are, if you can imagine, a vast cosmic storm that has elements of certain aspects and emotions and concepts. That's kind of what the Chaos Gods are. And they don't really like, they're not like cartoon villains. They're not just sitting in the warp going, oh yes, today I'm going to mess with the Imperium. But they are called the arch enemy of the Imperium. Like when you talk about the arch enemy of the Imperium, it's usually Chaos or the Chaos Gods, or also known as the Ruinous Powers.
Yep. That's why they have the Rune Storm demons.
So that's the beyond part. What about the, within and without? Let's talk about the without. Without are usually aliens. There's a ton of aliens that exist either in the galaxy or outside the galaxy or under the galaxy or above the galaxy. And they are trying...
Don't think about that part too much. It'll hurt your brain.
Well, so there is a galactic plane, though. Like, that is an actual... That's an actual thing.
Yeah, it's just very weird. The Tyrannids come from
beneath
this instead of just...
So aliens are constantly raiding or attacking or trying to destroy.
Enslave.
Yeah, there's tons of different factions of aliens, and they all have kind of their own reasons why they want to destroy the Imperium, but they all do. The Neverborn, to the word bearers, they are gods. To the Iron Warriors, they are batteries.
True. Very true.
I dig that quite a bit. I got to talk about this one. Charlie the Turtle says obligatory Michael Moorcock mention. Yes, Michael Moorcock and his writings is a huge brick right next to Dune in the foundation of what 40K is.
Yeah. Michael Moorcock, he's the... oh my God, why is my brain drawing a blank?
He's an author who wrote Elric of Melnimene and a whole bunch of other novels that relate to the idea of order and chaos as opposing forces.
Yeah, and I know the look of Slaanesh demons specifically came from like Hellraiser, with all the like body mutilation and everything.
Well, Hellraiser is also a big influence on the the Drukhari, the Dark Eldar.
Yeah.
So it's, again, 40K encompasses a lot, so many influences. There's anime influences on the Tau. There's a really long story about the Leagues of Votan that we could get into at some point. The Gene Stealers, the Tyrannids, are generally influenced by the Aliens films, things like that.
The Aliens, Starship Troopers, and a few others.
Abelard, get these new people to play Rogue Trader, Professor Shapp says. Yes, so that's a meme from Rogue Trader, the video game. Abelard, yeah.
Abelard, destroy the enemies of humanity.
Yes, exactly.
But when going over the different alien factions, the Tyrannids are one of the ones that I truly love. They are extragalactic, or outside of our universe itself, threat. We don't know where they came from. There are several theories, like one, they ate one of the Satan, or they might have their own god or something, but something is driving them to our universe, and they are hell-bent on devouring all life in the galaxy, and they are evil. And I don't mean like, oh, they're space bugs, they just do that to breed more. The Tyrannids can adapt to anything. They could circle a star and absorb its plasma if they really wanted to. They choose to attack and kill and eat. In fact, in the Devastation of Baal books, they purposely tried to get the Primarch's body, which was really cool and showed that the Tyrannids are just this truly evil race, and I absolutely love them. I love the Tyrannids.
Well, so I think it's important to say here now, because we're talking about like what is 40K. There's a face of 40K, right? There is a poster boy, if you will, for the setting, and those are, of course, the Space Marines.
Yep. More specific. Hey, Victor, what are you doing here? Go on, get.
Milky Way galaxy is a fresh pie sitting on the windowsill. Turnpike 04 says.
Well, yeah, and the Tyrannids are just sniffing it and floating along.
So the Space Marines are kind of the symbol, if you will, the core in a lot of ways.
The main character.
It angers some people, other people love it, but it's a true fact. Space Marines are kind of the main focus of Warhammer 40K. So who are the Space Marines? Guess what? We're going to have an episode on that.
Yep.
So I'm just going to very briefly say Space Marines are humans that have been surgically and genetically enhanced to be super soldiers, wearing power armor and carrying very advanced and very destructive weaponry. They're not really human anymore. They're post-human. They're kind of like a murderous machine clad in flesh. that does. and the Space Marines have changed greatly over time since they started out in the Horus Heresy, which is 10,000 years prior to the current era, and they've changed a lot, and we'll get into all of that. But basically, super soldiers. Oh, we're going to do that. We're Lich Lord Kier says, "Build the Space Marine chapter stream when." We are doing it. It is going to happen. List. It's on our. It is like literally one of the first 4 shows we pitched was like, how about how to build a Space Marine chapter. There's a great book that I worked on called The First Founding that includes kind of a random chart that helps you build your own Space Marine chapter. I have built my own Space Marine chapter, which is actually in the Warhammer World Museum. If you go there and look, the Storm Wardens were a chapter I created. So it is a thing that people love making their own Space Marine chapters. And
I have my own Space Marine chapters, the Sons of Garrow.
Nice.
It's taken from a little tiny lore blurb where Nathaniel Garrow was taken off of his ship, but all of the dudes that were just kind of with him, nothing happens to them. So I was just like, yeah, that's my origin. Some of those guys left.
Well, we do know what happened to those guys actually on the Eisenstein. But anyway, Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines are the most homebrewable faction in all Warhammer. Changed my mind, says Michael Texiera 5319.
You're just correct.
You're just right. They're so homebrewable.
Like we even know that there's 2 missing Primarchs just so you can homebrew.
So who are Primarchs? Like that's something we've talked about a few times. Primarchs are kind of, this is not totally accurate, but they're demigods. It's
completely accurate.
Primarchs are beings that are greater than any Space Marine, greater than any human, less than the Emperor. He created 20 sons, 21, some people say.
It is 21. Twins are not one person.
Some people say 21s, but we know for sure there were 20. And these beings were combinations of genetic science and technology and the power of the warp. So they combine all the aspects of the universe into themselves and become these demigod-like characters. They were very active pre-heresy, and during the Horus Heresy they were very, very active. But they almost all die or vanish or go to a place called the Eye of Terror. We don't see them again for a very, very, very long time. So in the Era Indomitus, one of the reasons why the Era Indomitus is very special is that some of the Primarchs are returning on both sides. You have Chaos Primarchs and you have Loyalist Primarchs. We should actually mention like why there's a split, right? Like the Horus Heresy is this event.
Yes.
Alexis, tell us about the Horus Heresy.
Okay, so to sum up the Horus Heresy, oh my god, okay, we could do this. I believe in myself. The Horus Heresy started because Horus himself was shown a vision of the Emperor begging and pleading for power from the Chaos Pantheon, and because of that, he believed that he was being lied to. Though we don't know if that event was true, Horus believed it. Then he talked to his other Primarchs, and several of them joined his side, believing that he should actually be the Emperor and lead, or some of them believed he should be the Emperor. That was kind of a weird thing where they said death to the default Emperor for quite a bit, and then it kind of stopped. But anyway, a bunch of them joined Horus's side, while the ones that stayed loyal to the Emperor tried to get back to the Emperor to hold off the Chaos Primarchs. But the Chaos Primarchs, and I'm going to refer to them as Chaos Primarchs because it's just easier than saying the ones that followed Horus. But the Chaos Primarchs did launch several preemptive strikes against the Loyalists and wound up destroying a good chunk of legions, including the Salamanders and the Raven Guard. And they sent the Dark Angels over to the other side of the galaxy. They split up all of these chapters, all of these legions, so that they could try to make a mad dash for Terra and eventually kill the Emperor and take his throne. Oh, there you go. But the core of the problem is daddy issues.
Well, the Emperor, as I said, is profoundly flawed. And one of the ways in which he is profoundly flawed is his relationship with his sons, which we'll get into that. The bottom line is half the Primarchs turned against the Emperor and the other half stayed loyal to the Emperor, and they fought, and it was huge and it was massive, and it ended.
It was galaxy spanning.
It ended badly for both sides. Technically, Horus lost. He died, for one thing. Anyway,
he didn't just die; he was obliterated.
He definitely died, for sure. And the universe has sort of been recovering from that for the last 10,000 years. So there are entire armies of Space Marines that are called Chaos Space Marines because they were once loyal to Horus and or have since become anti-Imperium. Any Space Marine that fights the Imperium is essentially a Chaos Space Marine at this point. Mechanical Beanstalk says, rate my headcanon. The old ones were not once race, but a council of many. Also, Lorebeards Fantasy is not canon to Lorebeards 40k as of 1998.
I get the joke, and I hate the fact that White Dwarf constantly tries to say that 40k and AOS are the same universe, and I have a deep-seated hatred with that because reasons. But I don't know. I think it's pretty clear that it was just the slan, right?
The old ones, they were at one point in the canon, like in the early days of Rogue Trader and First Edition, they were definitely slan. The old ones were definitely the slan. That is no longer true. As time evolves and the rulebooks change things and Games Workshop decides how things differ, the old ones are now kind of this nebulous species that may or may not be slan. I actually like your headcanon, Mechanical Beanstalk. I like the idea that the old ones were a council of many races. That would be super cool, kind of like a federation.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. I would love to see that be true.
Also, I fully agree on the fantasy Lorebeards and the 40k Lord's Beards not actually being a part of the same canon.
Slanny. Yeah, there's a piece of art by John Blanche of a frog-like creature called the Slanny. And I think that's from Rogue Trader First Edition or something like that around that time. And that's why
around the time.
And that's why they're the Slan, which the Slan is a Warhammer Fantasy race, but Slanny is very similar. So there you go. Horus can always come back. Looking at you, Fabius Bile. Fabius Bile has cloned multiple Primarchs, including Horus. So yeah. But it won't be the same. It will not be the same because as much as Fabius Bile is awesome, he doesn't have the same stuff that the Emperor had to build Primarchs. So his clones are pale shadows.
They're almost there.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good, but they're not actually Primarchs. So we talked about Space Marines, we talked about the Primarchs, we talked about the Horus Heresy, we talked about the Imperium, we talked about the enemies without and the enemies beyond. Alexis, do you want to talk about the enemies within?
I wouldn't know what the enemies within look like, Inquisitor. In fact, I've actually never seen anything in the history of forever. The enemies within refer to several different, sometimes minor factions, sometimes major factions. Demons could be the enemy within, but it's usually just possessions and things of that nature, or the Gene Stealer cult, where Gene Stealers infect humans and send them to worlds so that they could spread the Gene Stealer cult on that world and then attract the Tyrannids to come and devour it. That is one of the enemies within and enemies without.
Well, okay, so technically demons are beyond, and technically Gene Stealers are without. Within usually refers to rebels, mutants, psykers, anybody who wants to break away from the Imperium, any kind of recidivists or traitors generally are considered part of the enemy within. So yeah, no, we're not talking about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Dragon Magic. I see you. We're not talking about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. It is literally, so this is the emblem of the Holy Inquisition right here, which you can see has three bars in the middle of it. Each of those bars stands for one of the enemies within, the enemies without, the enemies with beyond. So the Imperium is very aware that it faces threats from different areas. But yeah, it is constantly, the Imperium is constantly suppressing rebellions and dissent and mutants who are rising up against their oppressors. It is psychers also. So psychic power is a thing.
Especially after the psychic awakening. Oh, they're busy.
Do you want to talk about psychers, Alexis?
Oh, okay. So has everyone seen that one
Scanners?
that one Tides episode where they're taking psychers? That's a really good way to show it.
Oh, Tides. Tides is a animated show on Warhammer
Plus, yeah.
Okay.
So psychers are the battery that keeps the Emperor alive. I mean, psychers are people that have a strong connection with the warp that can pull energy from the warp, manipulate it within themselves, and use it as an external, well, whatever the writer feels like they can do at the time. Sometimes they can shoot lightning, fire, they can change flesh, they can move rock, alter gravity. And psychers are on a certain scale of how powerful they are, but a lot of the psychers don't understand how strong they actually are and keep pulling energy from the warp until they become unstable and they themselves become a threat to the entire planet.
So psychers, the thing about psychers, people with psychic powers, it is a thing that has been going on in the setting for a very long time. And according to the setting, more and more humans are being born with psychic power every day. It is a constantly growing chart of there are more people who have psychic abilities, and more people are being born as psychers. And it is often conjectured that the Emperor's plan for the Imperium was to eventually like have us all kind of be psychers and ascend into some sort of psychic awakening or hive mind or something. We're not really sure. Frankly, the Emperor, profoundly flawed, and also didn't really tell anybody what he was actually planning.
We kind of just have like tidbits of what he said to Malcador, or was it Trajan Valorous, or is it Constantine Valdor? I forget which one was the leader at the time.
Valdor was the leader for the Heresy.
Okay. I get those two mixed up all the time.
Well, anyway, Valdor is we will cover Valdor. He's a really interesting dude. But the bottom line is that people with psychic powers exist. There's more of them happening all the time, and the Imperium needs them, but also hates them. So, quick comment from Mechanical Beanstalk. Lorebeards Ross, that's me. The Rogue Trader pen and paper RPG was my first true RPG live. Ran 3 to 4 campaigns of it. Hey, thanks, man. I hope you had a great time with that. It was really fun to work on that. So to get back to the Imperium and Psykers, Mangus is right. I think he means Magnus.
No, that's a completely different person. Magnus the Primarch was completely wrong. We all know that.
Well, no, he wasn't. Not entirely. But anyway,
he's completely wrong. Irrelevant.
So the Imperium functions because of Psykers. Astro telepaths send messages. That's how they communicate. There are Psykers that fight with the Imperial Guard. There are Psykers that fight with the Space Marines. There are Psykers that exist in all levels of the Imperium's government. But they are considered largely by any citizen of the Imperium, they're considered witches. They're considered suspect. They're considered, that guy over there, he can move things with his mind. He can't be trusted. We don't know about that guy. There's also a really good reason why that's true. And that's because demons who live in the warp,
they really like Psykers. It's like an open door to them.
Psykers are a giant candy-like red button, and they just want to push that button. So Psykers have to be extremely disciplined and in order to not become possessed, in order to not let their powers go out of control. And again, they draw their power from the warp, so demons are connected to that. So a lot of times Psykers have bodyguards, quote unquote, guys with guns standing by just in case they start to freak out and turn into a demon and they get killed. Mutants are also a big part of Warhammer, although they're rarely seen. It's true. But there is a specific breed of mutants that without these mutants, the Imperium couldn't survive. And that's the Navigators. The Navigators are a special mutant that has a third eye in their forehead. They pilot the ships through the warp because they can see in the warp, and they see a thing called the Astronomicon, which is the Emperor's psychic beacon, and they use that to navigate. So without the Emperor, there would be no Astronomicon. There would be no way to
travel.
Well, there'd be no reference point, right? You need to have a reference point to tell where you are and where you're going, and that's the Astronomicon. And without the Navigators, the Imperium couldn't function because you can only make short warp trips without a navigator. I think you can only go like a few light years without it. Super chat. Ricky Chapman 3377 says, thank you, by the way. Hello, by the dark gods, it's good to see Lorebeards 40,000. Currently painting our custom chapter, the Sea Dragons from an Ocean Death World. That's rad.
Oh, I really like that.
Love it. Big fan.
You gotta get if you make them a Space Wolf army, you could get the Ideneth Deepkin and use them as the Thunderwolf cavalry and really go into that Sea Dragon like look.
So here's an interesting comment from Ricardo Andre 7049. The Lorebeards 40k and Fantasy have shared the warp as stated multiple times, yet 40k and AOS don't align well if you try to chart a timeline. Elven gods help a lot for this. So Fantasy plus 40k, not 40k plus Age of Sigmar. At one time, pre-2003, I would say, Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k were technically same universe. They had a lot of things that crossed over, a lot of connections.
Draco.
They had a lot of connections, a lot of tongue-in-cheek references to each other. But the Games Workshop as a whole changed. It went from a certain size of business to a much more larger publicly traded company with shareholders and everything else. And it was then that they decided to split everything apart. So Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer 40k at one time were connected, but are no longer connected. They are now separate, completely separate universes. They have certain similarities in Warhammer Fantasy. There's the Winds of Magic, which is kind of like the warp, but not really. Andy can talk about this at great length. And in Age of Sigmar, there are demons and stuff like that, but they're the same demons that are in 40k, but there's not really the warp. Let's just say that there's a Venn diagram and these things do overlap, but that overlap has shrank considerably.
Yeah, like Be'lakor appears in both settings. Shalaxi Hellbane appears in both settings, but the ones from Fantasy act way different than the ones from 40k. Like Be'lakor in Fantasy, he can't win a single battle, but Be'lakor from 40k, he actually won one battle. Completely different characters now.
Well, it's only Games Workshop can tell you for certain if they are the same guy. Like if Be'lakor in 40k is the same as Age of Sigmar, is the same as Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah. There's a lot of like, well, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. There's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff going on about those things. But we're not really here to talk about other settings. We're here to talk about Warhammer 40k.
Yeah,
maybe.
But you have to casually mention that there is a connection to the other universes, but not really. But also there is.
And we would be remiss if we didn't say, for anybody who doesn't know, there is a main channel of Lorebeards that has been doing Warhammer Fantasy for a very long time. And if you have questions about Warhammer Fantasy, direct them to Andy and Ryan because they know everything there is to know about that stuff. I'm pretty good at Warhammer Fantasy, don't get me wrong, but those guys are better. We've got a super chat from Black Wolf 82, $10. Russ is the best. I assume he's talking about Layman Russ, who's one of the Primarchs.
No, he's talking about the tank.
Maybe, I don't know. Layman Russ is pretty fucking rad, though. I'm on board with Russ. I don't know if he's the best, but he's definitely one of the top Primarchs in my opinion.
I just want him to come back as a giant werewolf man. I don't need anything else. I need Magnus to almost kill Gilliman, like pull his hand back, and then from the warp, a giant werewolf grabs his hand and just comes walking out half in his armor with his two weapons, and it's just like, nah, mate.
So we've got a Michael Tex. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but I think it's Michael Texiera 5319. I understand why they keep them separate since it's a way to keep the fantasy races in fantasy and the 40k races in 40k. But a funny crossover here or there is always welcome, like the Skaven prank. Yes, crossovers are funny, and the last one that I'm aware of that is like actually that did happen was the Albion campaign for Warhammer Fantasy. It has Dark Shadows, I think. I
I'm not
forget.
sure.
I forget the name of it, but there was a Warhammer Fantasy campaign about Albion that had as its prizes was all basically 40K gear that had come over.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
That was
It's
the last time.
Yeah, it's in one of the books. There's a thing in Warhammer Fantasy where it's basically an Auspex.
Morning Crescent says, how do you get a certain demographic into 40K? Giant werewolf Russ. He's talking about furries, Alexis.
I don't care. I accept furries. That's fine. I want giant werewolf. I want wolfen that look good.
So Ricardo Andre 7049 says, I'm not saying same universe, I'm saying different universes tied by the warp. White Dwarf stated it again earlier this year. I'm saying two separate universes connected by ether. Andy will there's a rant that Andy will go on about how the ether is not the warp and the warp is not the ether. I'll leave that for him, but I tend to agree that they are not the same thing. But you know what? Here's the thing. 40K is huge. It's ginormous. And as somebody pointed out, it's one of the most homebrewable settings ever. And if you, Ricardo Andre 7049, if you are like, I love the idea of these things being the same thing connected by the ether, that's awesome, man. Rock and roll. Go with that. Go with God. Write some great stories about that. I think that's fantastic. Who knows? Maybe the Black Library will publish something like that.
To go along with that train of thought, if you are building a Warhammer army for your tabletop army, I use the Seraphim Raptors for my Thunderwolves. Like I take a lot of AOS stuff and throw it into my 40K stuff. I have Lizard Men, the Lizard Warrior guys. Saurus Warriors. Thank you. I could not remember their name. I use the Saurus Warriors as my Wolfen, and I have a whole Space Wolf dinosaur army. And like, go nuts, have fun. And if somebody questions you, just be like, nah, it's somewhere in the canon.
So it's one of those things where this is one of those settings, kind of like Star Wars, where fan theories, fanon is huge. I would love to do an episode on just memes, really, for 40K.
Oh my God, yes.
There's some great fan theories out there. I love the fan theory that Guilliman and Ivrain are in a relationship.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it is the kind of setting where you, as the guy who is observing it and taking part, engaging with it, if you see it a certain way, no one can take that away from you, Brad. Go for it. Rock and roll. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, except if it's like a specific fact that I do know is correct, then I will say you're wrong, because that's my role as a Lorebeard. But at the same time, I love when people come up with their own theories, their own ideas. And I love the way that people are like, I think this is the way 40K should be. Cool, man. Rock and roll. I want to hear it. Tell me your theories.
Also, the Odin Russ, better than Wolfen Russ? No. Don't make him Odin. Leman Russ is very clearly not Odin. He is Tyr.
And the Emperor is considered the Allfather by the Fenrisians.
Yeah, he is Odin.
Yeah. So Yokul, how do you pronounce this?
Yokul.
Yokul. Who are the top 5 living Psykers in the universe? The Emperor is dead. The Emperor is not dead. Not yet.
That's the whole thing. His body is very much decayed, but it's kept alive.
Well, we know he's not dead because the Astronomicon still functions.
Yeah.
Top 5 living Psykers. Probably Mephiston is in the top 5.
Okay, hang on. Do we count Ethereal Stern? But she uses the power of faith. Because then there's the whole debate whether or not faith is psychic power.
Yeah. I think we have to say no on Ethereal Stern. I think we have to cut out the faith and say just Psykers. I would say Mephiston is one of them.
Magnus is another.
Absolutely, Magnus. He's definitely alive. Yeah,
it would have to be Tigurius of the Ultramarines.
Maybe, yeah. Tigurius would probably be in the top 5. And there's definitely a couple of Chaos guys. Ahriman,
yeah. Oh, Yvraine.
Is Yvraine a Psyker? I mean, that's a really
Oh no, now I'm not sure if she actually is a Psyker.
She's the High Priest of Iniad, but High Priestess of Iniad. Anyway, you know what? We should do a tier list. One of our Wednesday shows should be a tier list of the top living Psykers. Thank you. Great idea. We will take it, we'll add it, and we'll get into it later.
Also, somebody said this, Magnus is Odin. This is actually like so close to being correct, and I hate it. I hate that they basically mixed up the Primarchs of those 2 legions.
I like
That's
this
just-
comment. Sorry, I like this comment right here. The top psychers, the bottom psycher partner. Woo! Very nice. Oh, we've got a super chat. Oh,
I'm sorry, I hit it.
No, my bad. Guys, we're still getting used to it. Please be patient with us. Stephen Lucas 8836 says, told AOS 40K 30K and Old World Studios are in sales competition, a primitive success metric, and why we now see so few model crossovers. Sad DOC.
So, okay, this I could actually explain because I really do love following like business trends and everything. Like on the side, I do love studying like economic trends and everything. And GW is having a problem where even their loss leaders are making money and they're making too much money. And it's really funny.
They're the most profitable company in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah. Old World is skyrocketing in sales. It is almost as good as AOS and almost overtook 40K as their top sale. 30K is starting to peter out a little bit, but we just got a new edition, so we'll actually see that go right back up as well. We had like a 30% increase the other day in their company stock, which was crazy. I don't think it was that much. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it was actually a big jump that was noticeable. I don't know the exact number on that. But yeah, it is a competition between all four of the settings, unfortunately.
There's a little bit more nuance to it. The so few crossovers issue. There's licensing is a big part of Games Workshop, and
yeah,
this is why I said some things are 40K adjacent. Like Necromunda is a separate license than 40K, as is Space. So if you are in the business of making money off your licenses, you can't put everything in one basket. You have to split them up. It's not ideal, especially for the consumer, but that's capitalism. It's just the way it works.
I think it actually is in this case. Only with GW is this actually a good thing, because we got things like Kill Team out of it. And we're starting now to see that they're going to be pulling demons from 40K, but they're going to be re-releasing demon boxes that are strictly 40K in the future, my theory, and pull the rest of them towards Warhammer Fantasy. And we do know that Be'lakor actually does share a model where it actually says that this model is for Warhammer 40K and Age of Sigmar. So, but the demon boxes don't. So we're probably going to get a demon kill team of all four Chaos Gods. They're lesser demons with a herald attached to them.
Yeah,
and I'm stupid excited about that.
Kill Team is probably the closest, like the Venn diagram almost completely overlaps between Kill Team and 40K. It's very close to being just 40K. But we got another comment here. Rats and Liquor, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you channeling your inner Andy with the cat of your ear headphones. Thank you. A small suggestion: try to take the comments in batches. Helps with the flow. You're right. This is our first show, guys. We're getting into it. We're going to figure it out. I appreciate you being patient with us and giving us suggestions like this. We will take this note, and I will try to batch things better in the future. Alexis and I are just like giddy. We're just like, oh my God, we're so excited. We're here. We're doing the show. Oh my God.
I was nervous all day about this. Like, I was stupid excited about this.
So thank you. And if you, I mean, we love you guys. We love the community, the Lorebeards community. And if you guys want to like help us make a better show for you, absolutely. Don't hesitate. Drop like, hey, we'd like, this would be more fun. This would be more fun. Drop those comments and we will take them into consideration. And Ryan and Andy are, I know they both told us to batch these things, so that's our fault for.
Yeah, but we're excited. What to answer things?
We're like, oh my God, we're just raring to go. So that's what's going on there. I'm not. There's no comment here. You cool? Hi.
Hello.
I'm not sure what to say there. You guys are doing great.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, so
let's get back to the topic though.
Right. So what is Warhammer 40K? Where would you go from here, Alexis?
Oh, okay. So when it comes to like what is Warhammer, for me it's the experience on the tabletop. It's meeting the entire community. Like really for me, Warhammer 40K specifically got me out of like a depressing episode in my life, got me back out into doing games with people that I turned out to be pretty decent at. And then it got me to go to game clubs. It got me into painting and miniature kit bashing and everything. And it's a big community that is very loving, except for the few idiots online that don't actually play the game. They don't count. But the people that you meet in person are like, it's one of the greatest communities, in my opinion. Like, even the competitive Warhammer scene, which I always was told when I was getting into the competitive part of Warhammer, that they would be the most try-hard, like, dumb people ever. They turned out to all be like extremely loving people who just want you to play at your best so that they can play a really, really intense but very fun game with you. And a lot of it just boils down to just two idiots playing a game of army men with each other and just having a good time. It's very much a beer and chips like game that it just brings a good community together.
I agree. The community for 40K is huge. I love, personally, like my favorite part of it is the cosplay. I love seeing people do costumes, tech priests and full space marine gear. It's insane what these people can get up to. It's really, really, really cool. I've got like a purity seal right there.
Yep. I like the Primarchs Space Marine helmet.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got like a lot of collectibles. There's a Navigator from Rogue Trader right there.
Yep.
It is a setting where there's something for everyone. It's so big and so full of really interesting characters and factions and stories and eras and history. There's really just, you can find something to latch onto. Just about anybody can.
Yeah.
And it is a setting that's handled this IP in a very interesting way. So like, I don't know if anybody here is a fan of Battletech. I know I saw somebody with a Ghost Bear icon, or Shadowrun. But those IPs, they tend to advance year by year. They constantly are evolving. They're constantly changing. They're constantly in flux. 40K is the opposite. Until the era Indomitus, and again, that was only 7 years ago.
Oh my God, that was 7 years ago.
Right. So for like 30 years, 40K was a very static. It was always the thing. But Games Workshop's been really good about reinventing without advancing. They're good at exploring it and diving deep without changing the core of what it is. The guys at Games Workshop will often talk about Warhammer 40K as it is an ideal that's seen through a glass darkly. Like if you can imagine like a frosted glass and you're seeing a light on the other side, we might describe it in different ways, but we both know it's a light. And we both know it's got a certain color or a certain warmth or a certain texture. But we all see it slightly differently because we're looking at it through our own lens, our own little bubble in that frosted glass. So, 40K, and like I said, it's changed vastly. 40K has been one thing in the 80s. It was a different thing in the 90s. It was a different thing in 2010s.
I always think that Warhammer is a different game every 2 editions. That's how I always seen it. It is the game the first edition was like super rough. They didn't really know what they were doing yet. But then second edition came along and second edition fixed a lot of it. Third edition fixed a lot of the problems of second edition. Then fourth edition changed the game. Fifth edition was an expansion of fourth edition. Sixth edition changed the game. And now we're going into 11th edition very soon. And 11th edition is just going to be like some changes here and there. I'm excited for the future of this game. I want to see certain parts of the game blow up a little bit more. I want more kill teams. I absolutely love kill team. I don't play kill team, but I buy all of them. Like, I have every kill team. I love that they're there and I want to show support. I want GW to get back into doing like Hero Quest for 40K. I think that would be great. The Blackstone Fortress game was amazing. Their board game, absolutely great. Oh, and we got 2 super chats. You got that one? Oh, it's just this one. Sorry.
Yeah. Actually, if you could help me out and double check the Twitch ones as well, that'd be great.
Yeah, trying to find them all.
Adding to the tragedy of the Eldar, Ricardo Andre 7049 says, by adding forgotten or renounced gods representing their missing psyche that they will never find again, therefore will never be whole as individual species, would be nice. So the Eldari are definitely a tragic race. Tragedy is a big part of their culture. It's a big part of their history. It's a big part of their tropes that go in and around the Eldari. They just react to it in different ways. You remember earlier I was talking about killer clowns from outer space. That is a faction of the Eldari called the Harlequins. And the Eldar's gods, most of them are dead, which is another big part of their tragedy. Most of the Eldari once actually ruled the galaxy. They were a galaxy-spanning civilization, but their empire collapsed. Their civilization collapsed in on itself, and so they are a pale shadow of what they once were. And there's not very many of them left, and they're probably never going to return to prominence the way that they once were. But they're still a big important factor in the setting. And when you say tragedy, it's a good point. I would love a Chaos Space Marine Path to Glory game. Hell yeah, me too, brother.
I want a brand new version of Path to Glory so badly. Let's see. You guys are doing great. We appreciate. Oh, thank you. I'm trying to get through the Twitch ones. I promise.
You're doing well enough. I'm sharing jokes from the chat with others, says Monique Crescent. So, so I mean, we've kind of covered like the real basics of Warhammer 40K. It's time to talk a little bit more about probably the Imperium, because again,
we talk about the Imperium. They're the
protagonists. All comes back to the Imperium, and again, they're not the good guys, but they are the protagonists.
That is something that you have to beat people in the head with.
One factor about the Imperium is that it's deeply religious. There is an organization within the Imperium called the Ecclesiarchy, and the Ecclesiarchy is frighteningly powerful because almost every single one of those million worlds, give or take, is deeply indebted to or deeply connected with the faith of the Emperor. It's called the Imperial Creed, which is this idea that the Emperor is a god and the Imperium is divine, has a divine mandate to like exist, and aliens and mutants need not apply. They are not the beloved. They're not the beloved of the Emperor, therefore they don't matter. And they shouldn't even exist according to the Imperial Creed. Oh, Ricky Chapman, 3377, $20. He says, by the way, thank you, sir. We've painted up our sea dragons, and now to something more chaos. We're going to kitbash a demon prince assistant for Vashtor. Wow, named the Journeyman. Speaking of, what are your opinions on Vashtor and the Forge of Souls? Alexis has opinions on this.
Vashtor is one great because there is a reference that somebody snuck into his model design, which is he is wearing the glasses of Vash the Stampede. And I absolutely love that. And it is such a funny, slight nod that if you don't look at it right and you don't paint him right, you don't notice. But he's definitely Vash the Stampede. Vashtor is such a cool concept. And then GW made him lose for some reason. And I don't know why.
Well,
he did
some of that has...
whole... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say some of this. So when we in the most latest version, iteration of 40K, the Era Indomitus, the Imperium is kind of resurgent. It's had a major setback and it's now kind of reconquering. Okay, and for that story to work, the Imperium has to do well. It has to be not. It can't just be a cartoon villain, floundering about, which is what Chaos tends to be.
But that book was a cartoon villain.
I'm just saying that's kind of that's like the nature of the beast.
Vashtor was winning, and then Be'lakor showed up on the rock, and it's like, what?
So
But on a side note, I absolutely love Vashtor. I love the idea that he's trying to become a god, and he's sitting at the very edge of becoming like the god of machinery, the chaos god of machinery in 40K. And Be'lakor absolutely hates that because Be'lakor wants to ascend. And I love the idea that it's two chaos factions fighting each other. I think that is absolutely terrific, and we need more chaos on chaos fighting.
And then Be'lakor got killed by a rock for the second time.
Yes, he did. Weirdly enough, I think GW at one point was trying to kill off Be'lakor in 40K, and then they released like a model a few years later, and then they're like, nah, he's back.
So
he was destroyed by the Legion of the Damned.
So we were saying that the Imperium, the ecclesiarchy is a huge big part of it. Religion's a big part of it. The military and war in general is a big part of it. There's so many military forces that the Imperium has. They have the Space Marines, which we've already talked about.
Soldiers.
The Astra Militarum, which is their ground forces, and there are trillions of soldiers, holding guns in lines. It is very World War I-ish with their tactics. There's the Imperial Navy. The Imperial Navy, which is all their spaceships and all their fighters, like air fighters, flying around in atmosphere, also in space. That's all Imperial Navy. You've got the Sisters of Battle, which are a force that essentially fights for the ecclesiarchy because they're not allowed to have men under arms. So women with guns, totally cool, apparently.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yep.
Rules as written versus rules as intended.
Exactly. There's
the Imperial Knights.
There's the Imperial Knights, the Titan Legions, the Scutari, the Adeptus Mechanicus. So many military forces. They have. I mean, we could literally stand here for an hour and talk about the Custodes. We could talk about
the Sisters of Silence, the Ordo Sinister.
Yeah, the Talons of the Emperor, which is both the Custodes and the Sisters of Silence. There's the Officio Assassinorum. The Imperium has so many ways to kill you. We would get out of breath trying to figure it out, all of them. But we will go through each one of them, I promise you, on this show. We will have more shows about each one of those little things I just mentioned. So the Imperium has vast armies, vast fleets, vast forces at its disposal. But it's under attack by so many different things that it can't really concentrate. It's very rare for the Imperium to concentrate its forces and unleash a devastating hammer blow. But it can. It certainly can.
Yep. Just like they did Acadia. They may have lost, but they did actually fight off Abaddon's entire fleet, which was hundreds of warships.
Yeah, well, I would love to talk about the Battle of Acadia. In the 13th Black Crusade. We're going to get into this. All these big historical events. There are so many big, massive historical events that the Imperium has done that are really cool and involve all these really cool named characters. If you're out there and you're like, my God, all these names, I don't know who any of these people are. We're going to probably cover every single one of these guys. The short version is that there are so many enemies of the Imperium as well that would take forever to list all of them. Abaddon's probably the big bad in the era Indomitus, and even post Heresy, he was the big bad.
There's also Imhotep the Stormlord attacking the 500 worlds currently.
Yeah, but if you had to pick like one guy as the
bad guy, it's Abaddon.
It's Abaddon, yeah. We've got a super chat here. It says video idea. Firesnake 905. Thank you, sir. How Tyrannids invade a planet. Yes, good one.
We're going to talk about Tyrannids in a whole episode, and their invasion is going to be something that we talk about because they have multiple styles of invasions, and a lot of people just know the 7-day one, which is their most common, but there are other ones that I really like with the Gene Stealer cult and everything.
So Kurenshima 3912 says, did anyone ever try to calculate the population growth rate for the Imperium to have trillions of soldiers? Given that in 2025, that is Earth, has around 8 billion people. Yeah, it's not hard when you have 1 million planets. And the Imperium packs people in. There's things called hive cities. And a hive city has as many people as a country. And there are some planets that are nothing but hive cities.
Yeah.
Some planets are so ridiculously overpopulated that a trillion men would just, if a trillion men died, they would replace them in 10 years.
I mean,
So
just one planet alone supplies the guard with like almost 1 million soldiers like every year, and that's what the heck is it? The gas mask guys. Why can't I remember their name?
Krieg.
Krieg. Yeah.
Yeah.
They supply almost 1 million men a year, and they're not even supposed to supply that many. It's like, hey guys, we need like 40,000 men. 40 million. Okay, here you go.
So the Imperium has vast armies. It has even vaster bureaucracy. This is something we have to mention.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
So part of the reason why the Imperium is not great is because it has so much bureaucracy. We're talking like Brazil, Terry Gilliam's Brazil movie. There are even entire planets that are dedicated to just processing paperwork. There are scrolls for everything. There are dusty, forgotten libraries where somebody will file away a cry for help from a planet that will never be answered because the backlog is so big.
And that's not even factoring in, like, sometimes they get astropathic signals from the future, the past, or some that are happening right at that second. And then they have to process those because the warp doesn't care about time.
Time is weird in the warp. That's true. We will have a there's a whole thing about time in the warp. We should everything that we bring up here is like a whole show. Like every sentence, just about every sentence. Yeah. I love this.
Conrad would thrive in the Imperium. Yes,
he certainly would. He would thrive. He would be a master of the administratum.
Oh my god, he would own like multiple systems.
Yeah, probably. Hermes Conrad, of course, is the guy from Futurama who's a bureaucrat who loves his job. So the bureaucracy is a big part of the Imperium as well. It's a thing that everyone has to deal with. So you have mass oppression, you have huge armies, you have a very strict and oppressive religion, you have very strict and oppressive laws, you have very strict and oppressive government. Feudal. It's also very feudalist. There's nobles. There's aristocracy. There is hierarchies exist in every aspect of the Imperium.
This isn't even factoring in that some worlds they encourage children to go out and commit crimes, and then they take those children to make into Space Marines. Now we're on YouTube, so I can't say what kind of crimes that they do, but those kind.
Charlie the Turtle says the ridiculous administrative apparatus is perhaps the most post-apocalyptic feeling of the Imperium. It adds to the grimdark to have that sense that everything that is running this machine is barely getting by. It is barely functional. Oh, we should talk about technology. And
yeah, we should. Oh my god, and how the technology. So where do we want to start? There is functional technology. There's technology that works because they believe it works. And there's technology that is so ancient that if it stops working, they never know how to repair it ever again. And then there's lost technology, which is technology from an age thousands of years ago that if you find it could be worth billions or entire planets. The technology in Warhammer is both super futuristic, and then some guys are running around with like just regular Glocks.
Technology is weird at 40K. There's that old adage, sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. That is true. There is tech out there in 40K that is basically magic.
The conversion beam cannon.
There is technology. So the Imperium commands technology that is basically magic on one end of the scale, and on the other end of the scale is barely functional even by today's standards. The fact of the matter is that people just don't understand how technology works. If you see a cogitator, which is their word for computer in 40K, you as an Imperial citizen, as a person in that world, you wouldn't understand the idea of circuits and binary commands. Technology is very, very, very well ill understood. Please go ahead, Alexis.
So it goes way deeper than that, and we will get into that in the future. But the knowledge on how to repair certain things is forbidden. Like, you are not allowed to know it as a normal soldier. You can't know how to fix your tank. That's heresy. Tech priests know how to do that. And they're the only ones allowed to touch that. And that's not even factoring in that tech priests take hundreds of years to build something because they have to bless and do sacred rites and all of this other stuff, unless somebody tells them to hurry up. But if they have all of these like ceremonial religious things because each piece of technology is in itself religious and holy. A bolter could function for thousands upon thousands of years because they keep repairing and blessing it.
Yeah, so there's theological aspects to technology that only the tech priests of Mars are fully cognizant of. The tech priests of Mars are a major part of the Imperium. They're called the Adeptus Mechanicus, and they do. It is because of the tech priests that the Imperium is able to function as well, because you need to have guns and tanks and things that work. So Stephen Lucas 8836 says STC's high of innovation is finding a Lego manual.
So one of my favorite things about STCs, the standard template construct, one of my favorite things about these things is that originally it did start off as like instructions or like a computer program and everything. In more recent lore, it's kind of like a 3D file. So it's evolved with our own technology, which I think is really cool.
Well, STCs are a thing that comes from an era called the Dark Age technology, where tech is magic. Sometimes STCs are a program or like it's like a program that you can plug into a factory and it can just make something new. Sometimes STCs are literally just blueprints. Sometimes they are a destruction manual. STCs can be a lot of different things because they come from an era where tech was basically magic. There is no right to repair.
So if you check your manual, you will know that there is a right to repair and you have to recite it before you try to fix your vehicle.
So the tech priests of Mars, they guard the secrets of technology very jealously. And therefore they are the masters of technology in the setting. And it's another reason why the Imperium is kind of really grim and dark, is because you barely understand how any of your stuff works. And the guys who do understand how it works, they only understand that because it's passed down through prayers and is swaddled in all kinds of religious trappings. Even a tech priest who does understand like the basic idea of a circuit, he's working on a cogitator. He knows that he has to burn incense and administer the
sacred ungulans.
The sacred thwack to the side of the console in order for it to function. But he doesn't really know why. Like they don't really get the science of it. All that's been lost. Professor Shapp says the dangers of abominable intelligence. Don't be wanting another Men of Iron incident. Go ahead.
I am still convinced that the Men of Iron are actually Transformers, and the whole thing is a giant Transformers reference.
Well, possibly.
Because they had a planet that transformed. That's Cybertron.
Commence sacred percussive maintenance, Firesnake 905. Yes.
Yes. I love it.
Of course you have to burn incense. When something breaks, it lets out smoke, right? So to fix it, you put smoke back in.
But the crazy thing is that their technology is both like hyper advanced to the point that a space marine walks around with a nuclear reactor on his back, and then the Rhino that he's driving in uses diesel.
Promethium, but it's like diesel.
It's space diesel.
Space diesel. Yeah.
It's so bizarre, so trippy. The Skitarii walk around with wooden parts to their guns because that's how they originally found them. And they're walking around with arquebuses, like an actual arquebus. And they're just like, yeah, this is highly advanced. Our ancestors used it.
It might shoot radioactive bullets, but Anyway, yeah. So the tech priests of Mars and the technology, the way technology functions, it's very strange, but it's also very cool in that it's so wrapped up in the pageantry and trappings of religion.
In fact, it was the Emperor himself when he went to Mars and repaired a Knight or a Titan. I can't remember which one it was. And it was this magical moment to the AdMech where they were just like, this human fixed something. And it actually like stood up and everything. And they were so blown away, they declared him a god.
So yeah, the Treaty of Olympus Mons is that's the moment that the Imperium and the Mechanicum joined forces and became a single being. If you look at the emblem actually on top there, the double-headed eagle, this is called the Aquila. It's a symbol of the Imperium, and one of the heads of the Aquila represents the Imperium proper, and the other head of the eagle represents the Mechanicus, because they are allied empires who work together. And this symbol came out of that Treaty of Olympus Mons when they decided to join forces. But even so, and this is where we're talking about, like, rank and everything like that. A Space Marine can't tell a Tech Priest what to do. They're in different silos.
Yep.
A Tech Priest can't tell the guard or a lieutenant in the Astra Militarum what to do. They're in different silos. But that being said, there are levels of respect and levels of
there's also a level of disrespect with the Tech Priests, Tech Marines, because they don't know where their loyalties lie. Are they with the chapter or are they with Mars?
Well,
and it's a debate between some of them.
If you ask me, the debate ends because the chapter is all. For Space Marines, the chapter is all.
Yeah.
Now, Tech Marines have a slight bit of divided loyalty because they did spend time on Mars and they were trained to do all the stuff that a Tech Priest can do. But you'll notice that Tech Marines are never given access to any of the higher mysteries. There are no Tech
There's no Tech Marines in the inner circle.
Well, Tech Marines don't command maniples of robots. They did in the Heresy, but not anymore. They don't command Titans or Knights.
Yeah, I think the only thing they're allowed are servitors.
There's a lot of things Tech Marines can be in charge of, but they're not Tech Priests, and they're never going to be Tech Priests. And some of them, like the Iron Priests of the Space Wolves, are even further away, like on the fringe. So Michael Texiera says, and that's why most Space Marines don't like the Mechanicus, also because most of them are insufferable. Well,
yes,
the Mechanicus, they have their own language, they have their own priorities, they have their own agendas, they have their own. They don't tend to see Space Marines or soldiers of the Militarum or even sailors of the Imperial Navy as valuable as compared to technology and machines. So there can be friction, and this is part of again why there's the enemy within. There have been battles, there have been entire wars fought between all these different factions of the Imperium against each other in the past. So
this is a question for you.
So in the religion of the Tech Priests of Mars, they consider the Emperor to be a god, and their god, the god of the Tech Priests, is what's called the Omnissiah. They believe that the Emperor is an aspect or a representation or a direct avatar, if you will, of the Omnissiah, the machine god. They call it the machine cult, is kind of their religion, or the cult Mechanicus. And so the question is, do I believe the Emperor is the Omnissiah or not?
Binary screeching.
The Emperor is clearly not a standard human. He is so far beyond humanity in terms of his psychic gifts and his outlook and his ability to, be immortal, that he, for all intents and purposes, he essentially is a god, even if that's really kind of up in the air. Is he the god of the Mechanicus? It was very convenient for the Emperor to say that he was. I don't know. I think the jury's out on
what do you think about that void dragon stuck under the surface?
Well, that's a whole different stuff. So at the end of the day, is the Emperor the Omnissiah? I'm going to say possibly, but not likely. I'm going to say not likely. I hear Mechanicus community. I hear AOL die up. Yeah, they have their own language. It's called Technolingua or Binaric, and it does tend to sound like screeches, modem screeches. So
So that is a brief overview of their technology. It is. Well, we didn't even scratch the surface on the idea that their technology can get possessed by random spirits and unlock new potential.
There's a lot going on with the technology. There's a lot. So it is generally believed by people in the Imperium that technology has an animating spirit, a motive force, not unlike a soul. They call it the machine spirit. I mean, the tech priests call it machine spirits. Normal people call them machine spirits. It's that anthropomorphization of, like, if you say, I've had people in IT say, well, your computer's acting weird. I wonder, have you angered it somehow, right? Like it's kind of a common belief, even today, even with us, even with our enlightened, science, that technology can have a character of its own, can have can act sometimes. Does technology actually have spirits inhabiting it? Not really. It is generally, it's just kind of your belief in that the machine functions better when I'm driving it.
Book though, where the knight reaches into the warp and takes the person's soul into them.
So when you involve the warp in technology, things get very strange.
Yep.
Because again, the warp is the source of all things supernatural.
And then there's the one knight, no, not the knight, the Titan that its princeps died and it just kept fighting. But that could be AI.
Well, so machine spirit can also be a representation of not really AI, but like advanced programming. Mm-hmm. Certain Space Marine vehicles can fight on their own,
Land Raiders,
without, and it's not an AI, because that is absolutely forbidden. But it is kind of advanced. It's
not AI.
It's advanced programming that the chapter and some Space Marines and even Tech Marines might see as, this Land Raider has a strong and warlike machine spirit. It loves to fight. Does it? Maybe you just got lucky and you think it is. It's
kind of what is it? It's the bias. So not survivor bias. It's witness bias.
Yeah. Observation bias.
Observation bias. Thank you.
Yeah. Michael Tixera says machine spirits are not real until they are. That's basically how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're really not real until they are, and then it just happens and people accept it. So
I love this comment.
The warp didn't make it better. The warp doesn't make anything better.
No, it really doesn't.
Well, again, without it, the Imperium wouldn't function. So, I mean, you're right.
I had to.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops, sorry. I hit too many buttons too quickly.
So we've talked about technology. We've talked about religion. We've talked about the military forces. We've talked about the government.
We have to talk about AI. It's a minor part of Warhammer's history that at one point in their golden era, this is pre-Imperium, they had AI and they had the Men of Iron. Now, I still believe the Men of Iron are just Transformers, and I'm still going to go off and die on that hill. But they had this massive war with these AI creatures, and eventually the Imperium did triumph. They used some kind of super devastating weapon, blah, blah, blah. They won. The remnants were given over to the Dark Angels for safekeeping, and the Dark Angels turned them insane and dropped them as combat robots onto the battlefields.
You're right.
So,
you're right.
Yeah, and then they either obliterate them with destructive collars, or they try to collect them. Then they lose the entire Dreadwing doing it.
So Alexis is talking about events that are pre-heresy. And it's important to note that pre-heresy history of 40K is very fragmented. It's
also like the realm of magic. Anything and everything can happen then.
It is a time of legend. So we believe, time of legend. Yeah. We believe that there was this massive war between robots and humans because that's what's said. Is it true? Something you need to know about 40K. Everything is kind of not true. There's the unreliable narrator is a massive part of Warhammer 40K.
What is it? Everything is canon, but not everything is true.
Yeah, and everything's not canon either. We'll get into that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Black Wolf 82. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We'll let just agree that Layman Rest is the best.
He does take a really good hit to the jaw.
Layman Rest is pretty awesome. I am a big fan of Layman Rest. Magnus, not so much. There you go.
I still think in Wolfbane, he killed the human aspect of Horus. That's my belief. Like how the Emperor had to discard his humanity, Layman Rest killed Horus's humanity. Just saying.
Necroplayer 97, thank you, sir. Howdy, super excited to see y'all join Lorebeards. Thank you. We're very excited to be here. Any tips or tricks for role-playing as a tech priest in an RPG? Does the 40k RPG have stats for them? Yes, it does.
Yes. In fact, the newest ones are getting them now as well.
Tech priests are really cool. And to play them in an RPG, you kind of have to put yourself in the mind frame of, I'm like a Franciscan monk who is also an IT professional. And
you're completely correct. I just want to add one thing. You are the only player at the table to keep Lexiconum open at all times.
Yeah. Tech priests to play a tech priest, or role play as a tech priest, you're going to want to study the machine cults and like their beliefs and their understandings. But tech priests can vary wildly. There can be tech priests that are mostly human. There can be tech priests that are almost
be a cowboy.
There are tech priests that are mostly machine. There are tech priests that enjoy the pleasures of the flesh and like to eat and drink just like everybody else. And there's tech priests that are like, nah, I'm good with my starch. I don't need anything else.
Tech priests are the ones that have to look as human as possible, so that they can talk between human and diplomatic relations.
Yeah, liaison type. Yeah, so yeah. Those tech priests exist. Role playing a tech priest is generally up to you. Like, do you want to be cool? Do you want to be friendly?
Play the Mechanicus game?
Yeah, that's a good place to start too.
Yeah, play the Mechanicus game. Learn the 4 different types of tech priests there, and see how they interact with each other. It's a really good. Like, tech priests are just a ton of fun to play.
They can be. Just like everything else, they can be really fun. It's if you can find a fun hook for them, I definitely agree. And we are both role players here, so yep. Happy to talk about it.
We got somebody saying Sanguinius died for our sins.
I mean, that's one way to think about it.
Yeah. I always think about that fight as a joke, and not to be rude, but my idea is this: it's like Horus hit him. And it's like a brother hitting another brother. Like, get up, get up, get up. Dad's coming.
So we talked about the Primarchs. We talked about the tech priests.
We talked about the tech. We talked about AI a little bit, but that's all that's needed. We talked about why no one gets along. We talked about how the date is not the actual date.
Did we actually? That's a thing. So in the Era Indomitus. Again, 7 years ago, they made a big change. In the Era Indomitus, it is now unknown date. Like, nobody knows what year it is, because that bureaucracy that I was talking about, everyone kind of had agreed what year it was.
Talk about faith. Sorry, continue.
But everyone had kind of agreed on what the date was. But in the Era Indomitus, they were like, wait a minute, we don't actually know what year it is. We think we know, but we're not actually certain. Because the records are all, moldering scrolls or computers that barely function. So it is kind of unclear. We know we're in the 40th millennium, but we're not sure what the year or the date actually is anymore.
GW, after the Imperial Armor books, GW did the smartest move they ever did and got rid of the idea of numbers. They stopped numbering things. Oh, I wanted to answer that Twitch one.
Okay, go for it. Go ahead, put it up.
This one. Can you be a cat girl tech priest? Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
Yep, that was it.
So there were people asking about faith. Couple of questions about faith.
Yep.
So faith in the Emperor. This is part of the Imperial Creed. Let's talk about that galaxy-wide religion. And it's important to point out that that religion has schisms, and not everyone is on the same page. Like they all generally are like the emperor is divine. Like that might be the one thing they all kind of agree on. But aside from that, you can find sectors, subsectors, planets. You can find regions where they worship very, very differently than.
I mean,
than
the
others.
Sisters of Battle hate the Space Wolves. Like,
not. No, that's not true overall. Like some.
No, they launched wars against each other.
Well, that is true, but not all Sisters of Battle are involved in that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Just certain groups.
I think it was Sacred Rose that did that.
So the point is that there's lots of different groups that think differently about religion. But one thing that is oddly uncontested is that there have been miracles. There have been supernatural events related to faith. The Sisters of Battle famously can cause supernatural events through some of their prayers. And there's beings called living saints that are literally superhuman, supernaturally gifted Sisters of Battle that can accomplish things that are considered impossible.
Like
is this
from the dead?
Right, like come back from the dead. Or even help a Primarch come back from the dead.
Or, fly in front of a spaceship and guide it through a warp storm. That actually happened.
So, well, I mean, it's certainly... Faith is one of those things that you're going to get the most nebulous answers on. Like Games Workshop refuses to really clarify some of these things. But it is not psychic power. It is a different thing. And its source is the Emperor. We know that.
So one of the things that we do know about faith, and it comes from two big sources. One is Ethereal Stern and the Demonofuge books.
Graphic novel.
Yeah. Where all of her sisters were sacrificed one by one, and each of them put their faith into Ethereal Stern, which made her one of the strongest beings, according to Yvraine, that she has ever seen. When Ethereal Stern talked to Yvraine was scared of her. Yvraine is an avatar. Well, not an avatar. She can summon an avatar. And she was worried about Ethereal Stern. In fact, she recruited Ethereal Stern to fight a greater demon. That's how strong Ethereal Stern is. And then we have Celestine. Celestine casually mentions that she's lived thousands of lifetimes, including one where she mentions where she lived on Terra, which I still have the whole Star Child theory with her, but that's a whole nother topic. I wish GW would drop it.
You want to see me get upset, start talking about the goddamn Star Child and the Sensei, and I'll just be like,
yeah, because that's Celestine. But Celestine has a book where she flies through the Emperor's realm and has to go through certain trials where that's what brings her back. And the golden light of the Astronomicon guides her to where she needs to be. And then she comes there and does, miracles. But even when Abaddon activated, not Abaddon, when the Blackstone Pylon network was activated on Cadia and all of the warp was cut off momentarily, Celestine did hit the ground only to get back up and then stab Abaddon, which I really would have been a really cool way to kill off Abaddon. That would have been awesome, but no, GW's too chicken to do that. But in another instance, Illuminar Zaris fought Ethereal Stern, and while fighting her, cut off complete connection to the warp in its entirety. Necrons can do this. They have a thing called Blackstone. It severs the connection to the warp. And Ethereal Stern went Super Saiyan. Barely joking about this, she gained a golden aura and her hair went up, and even her model looks like she's Super Saiyan. And she does fly, so...
It's over 9,000!
Yeah. But even with everything cut off, Illuminar Zaris, who only believes in hard facts, was very confused by the sisters, and then he started studying souls because he doesn't have one. Well, that's a whole different can of worms, whether or not the Necrons still have a portion of their soul or they don't or whatever, and GW keeps changing their lore every edition, so it doesn't matter. But I love the faith, and the more faith that a army has, the more that they can push back the forces of chaos. In the book Plague Wars, Gilliman couldn't push through the Death Guard, and he was having a really hard time doing it. But his preacher led his convent on a train straight through them. And he was like, they don't have armor or anything. How are they doing this? And then he ordered his men to simply follow them. And when Gilliman had faith for the first time that his dad would protect him, his sword ignited and did the whole fire sword thing. And he's like, oh, God damn it.
So if the power of faith is a strange thing. It is, so like at its core, if you're talking about like a living saint, it is not psychic power. It is not the warp. It is, we know that it comes from the emperor, but aside from those like specific things I just said, we don't know much about it. And even so, and to be really clear, there have probably been, almost certainly have been Sisters of Battle with psychic powers that everybody thought that was miracles or faith, but it was actually psychic powers. Like that has happened.
Yep.
And there's
we had a debate about that a second ago when we were listing the most powerful Psykers.
Right. So it is sometimes very difficult to tell what faith is. And I like this comment. That's why I left up. Faith is different until it isn't, but it is until it is not. That's Games Workshop for you. Yeah. It is one of those very ill-defined things in the setting, but it does exist. And
it's Schrodinger's soul.
It is very strangely focused on the Sisters of Battle with a few occasional exceptions outside of them. There's reasons for this. Like there's a big historical event where when the sisters were founded, they spoke directly to the emperor.
Yep.
So there could be something there. We're not sure, is the bottom line there. But we can certainly talk about like the game mechanics. We can certainly talk about like events that have happened that are supposed to be faith. But just keep in mind that unreliable narrator is always out there somewhere. And Games Workshop is go ahead.
Yep. I also wanted to talk about this one where orcs are my favorite version of faith. Orcs technically use Wa energy. And Wa energy is the warp plus faith, maybe, and they think that they can do things so they can.
It's not quite that. So at one time that was true. That is not true anymore. But at one time that was true.
They do still use the Great Green.
Well, that's psychic powers.
Yeah, but it's psychic.
So the orcs are a race that has gone through a lot of changes.
I miss the time when they used to be able to walk outside of their spaceships without helmets, tell each other they weren't wearing helmets, and both die. Wow, orcs. I miss you.
If you want to pick one part of the setting that is the most tongue-in-cheek, the most comedic, it is probably orcs.
Yeah.
Although, again, this is, in Heresy era, there's nothing funny about orcs.
No, they're just brutal and almost kill Horus and the Emperor.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the War of the Beast, which is anyway. But in the post Heresy era and the era Indomitus, orcs are essentially the most comedic element, even though they aren't really that funny. But sometimes they can be really humorous because of the way they speak and the way they act and the way their technology functions.
Hi, Kovu.
Oh, there's Kovu. So
I figure everyone should see this. Wait, where is it? Where is it? Big stretch.
Oh, that's a big stretch. Look at that cat. Damn.
I'm also not ordering Necrons. You don't see that on the other screen. Don't tell Victor.
Necrons are the oldest species in Warhammer 40k. They've been around since way back. They actually fought the old ones during the earliest eras that we know of in the history.
The War in Heaven.
The quote-unquote War in Heaven. Although that's also a thing that they shared briefly with fantasy.
There's like 5 different wars in heaven, and GW keeps naming things the War in Heaven, and it's really annoying.
I really like this quote. Ricardo Andre 7049 says, "A single mind connected strongly to the warp can bend the laws of our universe. But a billion minds, a trillion minds, all believing the same thing, it matters little if they are Psykers or not."
That is from Godblight, and that is an Eldar talking to Gilliman.
It's a pretty...
That is the Eldar advisor, whose name I can't remember.
It's really cool. Natase, maybe?
I think so.
Anyway, anyway, point being, faith is weird. Aliens sometimes have faith. Necrons are the oldest. What? Ilion Natase, says Ricardo.
Yeah, thank you. I keep calling them Natasha. I don't know why, but I keep calling them Natasha.
We are also Shredders by Ricard. So we're 2 hours in, which means we're in our final hour of the show. If there's things that you would like to hear us talk about with what is 40K as the overall topic, I'd love to engage. So, Alexis, is there something we haven't covered that you'd like to get into?
Let's see. We talked about the Mechanicus. We talked about most of the major factions. We talked about the Eldar's fall. We talked about the Eldar split between Eldari, Asciarni.
Not really.
That's a whole nother video. We talked that they split, and
Yeah.
we just mentioned that. We talked about the Orcs, the coolest faction in the entire setting. We talked about the Satire and how the Satire has slowly dwindled, but is still somewhat there. They need to bring that right back. We've talked about most of the Imperium that I can think of. Is there any alien faction that we didn't talk about? Maybe a short one, one that's really small that we just keep forgetting because we just can't see them.
I would be remiss if we didn't talk about two things: Rogue Traders and the Inquisition.
Oh yeah. I mean, if anyone else needs to be talked about, they would speak up and stand up and be heard.
Would you like to lead us off on either one of those?
So one of my personal favorite factions in all of Warhammer 40K is the Inquisition. I absolutely love the idea of the Inquisition because it shows just how evil the Imperium actually is. It is a secret police force that goes around either fighting aliens, fighting demons, or fighting themselves. And they look for anything that could possibly be a tiny thing that could lead to a heresy. Like, hey, your numbers came up with 3 consecutive digits that we didn't like so much. What are you doing? And they would go after things like that. If you don't know, the Chaos Gods have sacred numbers. If those pop up, Inquisitors come a-knocking. And that's that, I believe, you wrote into the Dark Heresy setting.
Well, the Inquisition is a really interesting faction of its own. All the other factions we talked about exist in silos, right? The Inquisition is one that bridges all the silos. Inquisitors have authority and power that, you remember how we were saying that a lieutenant in the Astra Militarum cannot give a Space Marine orders? An Inquisitor can give orders. They can give orders to anybody. Yeah, this quote: "My patience is not limitless, unlike my authority." And Inquisitors very infamously have the authority to issue a order called Exterminatus, which means that a planet will be wiped out of all life.
Yep.
So an Inquisitor showing up is a big deal. A, because they command ridiculous amounts of authority. They can override just about anybody. Even Inquisitors, though, do tread lightly with Space Marines, to be clear.
Yeah, they will order them, but most
often they'll ask.
Yeah.
Most often an Inquisitor will be like, "Do you mind doing this for me?"
There are very few Inquisitors that will directly give an order. The only one I can think of in recent history is Hector Rex and Inquisitor Draxus.
Greyfax, I think, also. But
yeah. Oh yeah, and Greyfax. She commanded, but she also commanded Grey Knights. So,
well, the Grey Knight. Okay. Bottom line, the Inquisition has stupid amounts of authority. If an Inquisitor shows up, everyone has to pay attention. At the very least, they have to pay attention. No matter how, if you are one of the Lords of Terra, you have to be like, guys, I got to take this call. Okay, yep. It's the Inquisition. They have the best of everything. Like they have all the resources they could want, but they also act, as Alexis was talking about, they act in opposition to each other as much as they act in opposition to the aliens and the rebels. And
sometimes they're just testing each other.
Can be.
Like a lot of the times the Inquisition is actually investigating other Inquisitors because of their acts might be too heretical. And the Inquisition is split into 3 main branches, but there's actually like an infinite number of different philosophies. but you know the three very well.
Yeah, Ordo Malleus, which is the enemy without. Ordo Xenos, which is Ordo Malleus is the enemy beyond. Ordo Xenos is the enemy without, and the Ordo Hereticus is the enemy within. And they have subgroups underneath all of them, and they constantly, if you give a man unquestioned authority, he starts to believe in his own bullshit, like more than anybody else, right? He starts to believe that only he's right. So that's why you have these inquisitors that will often go to war against each other, or have rivals amongst themselves, or have vastly different approaches to how to best serve the Imperium. And the joke is that a game of Dark Heresy, which is all about the Inquisition, a game of Dark Heresy will start out with an Inquisitor saying, "Okay, I need you to help me do the thing." And at the end of the campaign, your group will be planning their next operation when the door gets kicked in and somebody says, "Freeze, Inquisition!" And it's a totally different group going after you because you are not doing the thing the right way.
I'm also saving a couple of our super chats so we can talk to them right after we talk about the rogue traders.
And then there's the rogue traders. Rogue traders they have authority. They have a great deal of authority. But that authority only really exists outside the Imperium. Within the Imperium, they are still a force to be reckoned with. Individual rogue traders can have enormous fleets. They can have their own bonded troops. They can have deals with Space Marine chapters, where a Space Marine chapter will come to their rescue if they're in trouble.
They can have deals with aliens.
They're merchant princes that basically have been given what's called a writ of marque. A writ of authority from the Lords of Terra, and they say, "Go explore beyond the borders of the Imperium, exploit what you find there, and bring it into the fold." So rogue traders are essentially, if you want to think about like the Age of Sail, these are your pirate princes. These are your.
I just thought they were space Mormons.
They can be explorers. They can be highly religious, dogmatic. They can be highly integrated into the Imperium, and they can be, you know what, my word is law, and I don't care what the Imperium believes. I'm gonna have an Eldari first mate, and I'm gonna have a Kroot on board my ship, because why not? Because aliens are fine to me, and you, except for the Lords of Terra, you have no authority over me, so whatever. In fact, a lot of Inquisitors masquerade as rogue traders.
Yep, because it's the easiest way to do it. It's
one of the easiest ways to walk around and do whatever. Oh, so we're super chatting.
Yeah, because it's starting to go back a little bit, so I just want to get all of them.
That's fine. Ricky Chapman 3377 says, "What minor Xenos race do you all want to be a main faction?"
Kroot.
Are Kroot minor?
They are technically a minor race at this point. And when it comes to like the tabletop, I want them as a playable faction. I also want all of their lore explored. I want them to get their Psykers back.
Oh, well, they have Psykers. They definitely do.
They have Psykers. They have Vulture Kindred. They have other types of dinosaurs. I want all of this. I want them as a playable faction.
Kroot Hawks. Kroot Hawks are the guys at the center of the war sphere that enable the war spheres to pass through the warp. Basically, they have Navigators. It's weird.
Yep.
I would say Thrall for me.
Thrall are cool.
They're really interesting. I'd like to see more about them.
All right, and then we got.
No one expects the Imperium Inquisition.
I didn't even click on that one. That's how unexpected it was.
Stephen Lucas 8836. Oh wow! Don't ask me to pronounce that.
That's actually why. Okay, I randomly know this.
The Romanian tennis player has a name very similar to the Eldari character we were talking about. I don't know how to pronounce it. Martington Crescent says, "My issue with 40K is that it's so grimdark. It's hard to have stories of characters trying to be good and getting anywhere, which is definitely a point of the game, but it gets and stays dark." That is generally true. 40K. If 40K was to have a flaw, it might be that sometimes it goes a little too far with the grimdark.
It goes into grimdark territory.
It can also be just really bleak and nihilistic. But there are stories, and some of the best stories in 40K are the ones where there are characters trying to do good, even if that good is just to maintain the Imperium against its enemies.
Yeah.
There can be fascinating stories told about holding off that clock ticking one more tick towards midnight, because the Imperium is basically doomed. Like just looking at it, there's no way it can survive. But it does somehow cling to its existence. And there are people who fight really hard for it, because without the Imperium, you can make the argument that without the Imperium, humanity would end. Demons would devour us, aliens would conquer us and enslave us, and mutants and Psykers would overtake whatever's left. You can make that argument. But I mean, so at the end of the day,
it's also a really stupid regime that doesn't like help its own.
but the Games Workshop response to this would be that only in the greatest darkness does the candle shine the brightest.
Yeah.
They like to see the idea of the ideals of heroism and wanting to do good as that candle flame burning in the dark. And it is all about how long can that candle burn. Necroplayer97 says, I'm curious, do y'all, oh, by the way, thank you, sir. Do y'all have any guilty pleasures in terms of books and or armies? And if so, what are they?
Okay, my guilty pleasure book is oh my god, what is the romance book of 40K? The Infinite and the Divine. I absolutely love that book. That is the greatest book ever. I absolutely love that Trazine, the gay best friend, is like an amazing character. I absolutely love everything he's in. And my guilty pleasure army is my space raptor dinosaur wolves guys. It's such a dumb army. I just love it. I just throw haymakers at my opponents and hope it works. And if it doesn't, I lose.
So my guilty pleasures. I don't want to slam anybody's efforts, because there's a lot of hardworking writers out there and have written some excellent books. So keep in mind, this is not like a slam on anybody when I say this. My guilty pleasure is Battle for the Abyss by Ben Counter for the Horus Heresy series, or Fulgrim by Graham McNeil.
Oh, Fulgrim is so good.
But it's a guilty pleasure. I consider it a guilty pleasure. In terms of armies, though, I'm going to go back to Ben Counter. The Soul Drinkers are fucking rad.
Yeah.
And I know the Soul Drinkers are such an edge case of an
like
army.
them though.
I do. I think they're cool as hell.
Did you make the Spider Chapter Master?
If I was going to make, like, this is not an army I've built, but if I did build the army, I would absolutely build the Chapter Master the way he's depicted in the novels, which is he's a mutant space marine with like arachnid legs. He's wild. The Soul Drinkers are just wild.
Love them.
All right, any more super chats?
Hang on. I'm trying to get the Twitch ones as well.
This guy says, I'd love if the Crave were made a faction. Yes, there would be cool. Also, the Rangdan would be really cool. Also, the Uvath. Also, there's just so many. There's a lot of really many. This guy says the Imperium is a dying giant with 1,000 wounds, trying to keep its foes, be they flies or peers, at bay. Very good.
That's cool.
That is an exceptional way to describe the Imperium. Very, very good.
Eldar Exodites, please. Yeah, I fully agree with you, my friend.
Professor Shap says, for reminders, Xenos faction, I've been kind of wanting the Hrud as a full faction. Hrud are
too powerful.
They're a little problematic, but Crude as a full faction is a good one. And maybe Tyrellians as a new auxiliary for the Tau.
Yes.
That'd be sweet. Honestly, I got too many I want. I'm in the same boat, Professor Shap. There's a lot of really cool stuff that would be neat to see as a full faction.
I think the Tyrellians could fit the Tau the way that what the heck are they called? The halflings with sniper rifles. Ratlings fit the Imperium. Like, just make them short little infiltrating snipers, and that's it. Like, don't give them the ability to spot for the Tau, and you're done.
So, let's open it up. Let's open it up. Who wants to ask us something about Warhammer 40K, because this show is all about what is the grim darkness of the far future. What is it? How does it work? I think we've given you a pretty good overview. And keep in mind, this is just barely scratching the surface of the iceberg. We're going to be going deep, folks. We're going to be drilling into it. And Alexis and I both.
You missed Sotek's message? I did. I'm so sorry. I was avoiding him on I'm joking.
Oh, Lore Master Sotek. Thank you, Lore Master. Video idea. What if the Swarm Lord killed and devoured the biomass of a Primarch?
So this almost happened. Like, in the devastation of Baal, this almost happened. And the Blood Angels had to call in all of their chapters to deal with it. And then they had some demonic help.
Well, the Primarch in this case would have been Guilliman for Baal, but yeah. The idea of a Primarch being devoured by the Tyrannids and turned into something is terrifying. That would be horrible. And I would it's a great idea for a show. So it's a great idea for a show. Absolutely would love to dive into that. Tyrannids like Kroot can adapt a lot based on what they eat.
Yep.
And a Swarm Lord who devoured a Primarch would certainly be something more than a Swarm Lord. I don't know what it would be, but it would be pretty fucking scary. I can say that. Pretty damn scary. Here's a quote. Here's I don't think it would influence enough because they need biomass to get their traits, although they would get a lot of juicy info. Depends. Again, Primarchs are demigods, and eating a demigod is not the same as eating anything else. I mean, I don't know.
Also, Tyrannids can pull memories and everything out of just muscle.
Well, so can Space Marines.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
It's Kabanda with a steel chair.
Yeah.
I love that one.
So 40K is a setting that's been around 38 years. And there's stuff that is from first edition, from the original Rogue Trader. Some of those things come back over time. And the setting has advanced and evolved in so many ways that it is almost unrecognizable from its first iteration. And anything that you think is cool from the stuff we've talked about, it's very likely that will come up again or come around again, or someone will do something interesting with it. Because this setting is very dynamic. There's lots of authors writing novels to expand on different aspects of the lore. The rule books for each game, and they keep coming out with more games like Kill Team, and Horus Heresy being its own game was not a thing until recently. So Games Workshop continues to build on its successes. It continues to evolve the setting.
The one thing I really want is, now that the Horus Heresy and the Siege of Terra has ended and is done, I want the Scouring. I want the Scouring series to end with the Sisters of Battle coming in.
Here's an interesting question. Who is your favorite Primarch from Godzilla Rex 100? I can tell you, my
Godzilla Rex. Sorry, that's a great username.
It is. My favorite Primarch, period, is Sanguinius.
I have an obvious answer, and it's Lion. It's Lion. He is the best. Like, GW has declared him the best fighter. He is won against every other Primarch. He doesn't care if you have supernatural visions. He'll beat your ass.
Okay, I gotta throw something in though. Lion is canonically exceptional as a warrior, but canonically, the Primarch with the best combat record against other Primarchs is Fulgrim, because he got a kill on Ferrus Manus and got a TKO on Rabute Guilliman.
Yeah, but he also basically died to Dorn. Dorn also killed 2 Primarchs and didn't lose.
I mean, did he though? Did he?
Yeah,
like,
he killed.
It's Alpha Legion. We don't know. You never know.
Yeah, he definitely killed Alfarius.
He killed an Alfarius.
Yeah, but the Legion felt the psychic backlash. It was Alfarius.
Yeah, but it could have been Omegon.
And then he beat Fulgrim till Fulgrim just rage quit.
Yeah, but I still say Fulgrim has the best record, because a kill and a TKO beats everything else.
Lion beat Angron.
Yeah, but didn't
Lion well, in 40K he killed him, but Angron can come back.
This is my point, is that the best track record is still Fulgrim. Because Ferris Manus did not come back. Sort of.
Yeah, like he beat Russ. A sucker punch still counts.
Okay, so we got a comment here. Rogel Dorn stands supreme. We should do a tier list of Primarchs on our.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be one of them. We have to do that
because Dorn is awesome. I love Dorn.
I absolutely love Dorn. Like crazy love Dorn. I hate the Imperial Fists.
Ricardo Andre 7049 makes an excellent point. Kurz has a very good record. It's not in my opinion, it's not quite as good as Fulgrim's. And Fulgrim had help. Let's be clear. Fulgrim had help. But Kurz is definitely one of the strongest Primarchs. There's no question about that. We all know who the weakest Primarch is, right? Everybody knows the weakest Primarch. 3, 2, 1. Lorgar.
It's Lorgar.
We all know it's Lorgar.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Lorgar. Like, I mean, there's just casual beatings of him.
Well, Lorgar we know is the weakest in terms of combat ability, but
yeah.
Oh, we have a big super chat here. I am the real Bocus. Thank you very much.
Dang, I thought he was a fake Bocus for a second.
For half a second, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Cool to see Lorebeards evolving. I know so little about 40k. Iron Hands, though, is my favorite chapter. They are very cool.
They are a really cool chapter.
Oh, what's a cool lore moment where they get to shine? Oh, all right.
The steel cage.
Why don't you talk about that?
Honestly, I haven't talked about the steel cage incident in a long time, but it's they tricked the it was during. Is it during the scouring? It is, right?
I don't know. Steel
I always forget if the iron cage incident is during the scout.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, because I feel like it is. Okay, I feel like it's right after the heresy. And Proturbo tricks
Perturabo.
Yeah, Proturbo. You never heard him called that? His full nickname, I can't say. But
I call him Purdy.
Iron War is not Iron Hands. Wait, was it Iron Hands?
This guy wants.
Oh my God, it's Iron Hands. I get those confused.
This guy wants to know about Iron Hands. Iron Hands are, especially during the heresy.
Hands I was thinking Iron Warriors.
Awesome. Iron Hands are awesome during the heresy. Cool lore moment where they get to shine. It's kind of a cool moment and also a bummer. But it's Isfin 3. Isfin 5. Isfin 5. The Iron Hands assault just punches right into the Emperor's Children. They go hard on the Emperor's Children on Isfin 5, and while they ultimately lose their Primarch in that battle, it is one hell of a fight. And the Iron Hands go all out. They bring everything they got to the table, and they have a lot because Ferris Manus, he liked to mess around with technology to a level that the tech priests were not comfortable with.
Yeah, no, they did not like him.
To the point where some of his guard, the Morlocks, were more machine. They were basically robots in Terminator armor. It was insane. But yeah, the Iron Hands are really sweet. We will do a whole show on the Iron Hands, and we will cover all of their big moments. I promise.
And I will learn more about the Iron Hands. So, I will admit they are one of the legions I know the least about.
The Shattered Legion stuff. This guy, Jake Wu 8268. The Shattered Legion stories involving the Iron Hands is pretty good. Agreed. So one of the big things that happens to them during the heresies, they get almost annihilated on Isfin 5, and the remnants of the Iron Hands are especially angry because their Primarch went away. Their Primarch died, and that is a massive cultural blow to a legion in the Horus Heresy. So they went kind of crazy. They went a little mad. And sometimes that meant they would fight like the devil. Those guys were insane. So yeah, the Shattered Legion stuff, I do recommend you check that out if you want to know more about how
Shattered Legions.
Yeah. The new Drop Site Massacre book, by the way, this guy's Michael Tixer is talking about, written by a friend of the show, friend of mine, John French, excellent writer, wrote a whole bunch of Dark Heresy stuff, FYI. John French wrote this book about the Drop Site Massacre. I can't wait to read it. It's supposed to be really, really cool. So I'm excited about that. Oh, we've got a comment on Primarchs here. Lion vs. Kurz stands on 2v1 and then almost died on a 2v1 against Kurz with Gulman on his side. One Dark Angel should have died on Sulagasa, putting a sword. Sorry, Sugwalsa, putting the sword in Kurz's spine while the lion is choked. Yeah, Kurz is a absolute
Kurz
badass.
is a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast. No question about it.
I still love that Gillamom was just like, lion, kill him.
Listen, Guilliman is, I mean, all Primarchs are incredibly badass warriors.
No, I'm talking about his mom.
Right. Which Guilliman's mom is awesome.
Yeah, she is a badass character. I love her.
Guilliman's mom is one of the best mortal characters, non-Space Marine characters in the entire heresy. Sorry, to recap really quick, what I was going to say is all Primarchs, even Lorgar, are gods of war compared to a human. Even compared to a Space Marine, they're all gods of war. So it's only relative to each other where we talk about, like, this guy's the weakest, this guy's the strongest. Guilliman, for example, is a far better administrator than he is a frontline warrior. But he's a pretty good frontline warrior too.
I love that he has like an inner rage in him. He's got that nerd rage.
He is the nerd. Guilliman is absolutely a Primarch nerd. He's a logistics nerd.
I love him so much.
Custodes, bully the Lord nerd. I love these comments.
Yep.
There's been a lot of great moments about Primarchs. So Primarchs are such a big part of it that this is why
they're coming back.
Well, they're like the heroes of the Battle of Troy, like Ulysses and Ajax and all those guys. Achilles, right? They are the legendary warriors, the absolute, King Arthur's Round Table, and even more so for the Lion.
Yeah, because he is literally King Arthur.
Right. They are the King Arthur's Round Table of the setting. So Primarchs get talked about in a way that is very different than any other character in the setting.
Well, like, go ahead. For like a normal person to gaze upon a Primarch, it hurts them. Like, they can't just look at a Primarch. And it's like, you have to be strong of will to stare at a Primarch.
There's
But that's more of their religious reverence than anything.
Primarchs have an inbuilt presence that affects mortals differently.
They have aura.
Even Space Marines. They do. They absolutely have aura. Actually, Lorgar's aura, one area where Lorgar excels is in his fucking aura. His aura is great. This guy, Godzilla Rex, has an interesting comment. He says, I blame Space Marine chapters having like half of all chapters either named Iron Wolf or Warriors in their name.
Oh my God, yes.
Don't forget Storm. Storm is also very common.
Yep.
One of the more recent chapters created in the era Indomitus is the Wolf Spear, which is a really cool chapter, by the way, the Wolf Spear. Yep. But again, uses wolf in the name. And don't forget the Black Legion was originally the Luna Wolves. So wolf is a thing that happens a lot. He's right. He's absolutely right. And Iron Warriors, Iron Hands.
If you translate all of the Dark Angels like crazy words, they're all death. Every one of them. Interemptor is like death. What are their sword brethren called? The Terminators.
Cenobium, Inner Circle Knight.
Yeah, Cenobium is another word for death. It's just really funny how often they use the word death.
Oh, we should mention here that we talked about the religion stuff earlier as well.
Yep.
Space Marines are not, by and large, are not religious. Most Space Marine chapters, with one very big exception, do not believe the Emperor is divine. They see themselves as the sons of the Emperor, and they have, of course, institutional memory stretching back to the era when the Emperor was out walking around doing stuff next to them. So they generally see the Emperor as their father, their gene sire, the greatest of their kind, but generally they do not see him as a god. The one exception, the big exception,
Black Templar.
The Black Templars do believe the Emperor is divine, and they do worship him. So that does happen with one at least one chapter, probably more.
It's why they get along with the Sisters of Battle so well.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons. But yeah, suffice to say. Also, the source of a lot of that antipathy we were talking about earlier, the antipathy towards Psykers, the antipathy towards mutants, antipathy towards aliens, that is all reinforced by the Imperial Creed. The religion is very much down on those things. So, for example, a Space Marine chapter like Space Wolves, they might make a treaty with the Eldar. They might be like, it's fine. Some aliens out there, we'll probably fight them eventually.
We'll kill you later.
We'll kill you later, right? The Black Templars and the Sisters of Battle and the Ecclesiarchy in general they do not put up with that. They're like, no, no witches, no aliens, period.
Yep.
Which is
the only ones that the Black Templar accept are the ones that are absolutely needed, like the Astropaths and the Navigators.
And Navigators, yeah, stuff like that.
And they view them as touched by the Emperor, so they're okay.
Well, strictly speaking, Astropaths have been touched by the Emperor.
Yeah, they have. They're
soulbound. So there is a type of Psyker that is actually connected to the Emperor, and that is the Astropaths.
Yeah.
Actually, here's a really good comment. Somalus 0575 says, now that we're here, is there any reference about the book Lorgar wrote, the Bible like that the Imperium uses? So
the Imperial Creed?
The Imperial Creed comes from a book called the Lectitio Divinatus. The Lectitio Divinatus was a book written by Lorgar. Found so even Lorgar, who is definitely one of the architects of the Horus Heresy, this guy Erebus is actually the source of the Horus Heresy. We'll talk about him later. But
I still think the writer mixed up the names.
Lorgar's book is technically the basis for the religion of 40K. So there you go. He's right. So Mornington Crescent asks a good question here. What do Navigators mutate into? That's an excellent question, my friend. So here's the thing. Navigators typically appear humanoid with a third eye in the center of their forehead called the warp eye. However,
you should definitely look directly into it.
No, you shouldn't, because that'll kill you. But according to all of the texts, again, all of our unreliable narrators, Navigators continue to mutate throughout their lives. And the oldest and most venerable of their kind end up as bloated monstrosities, not unlike that critter we see in Dune. That's called the Navigator. That's kind of the end state. And most Navigator houses, because Navigators have a lot of political power because the Imperium needs them. The Navigator houses have a lot of power, and what they usually do is they take their eldest, most mutated Navigators and they put them in vaults. They put them in secret places where no one will see them except their own household. Cassia, yes.
Agreed.
Cassia's on my shelf. She's awesome.
1000% agreed.
Yeah, Cassia's great.
There is another way that they mutate. They could get demonically possessed. In the case of the Chaos fleets.
True.
And sometimes they use demons for their Navigators.
It's sometimes difficult to tell the difference between a mutant and a person warped by chaos. It can be very difficult.
Yeah. And sometimes the mutations are caused by the warp.
Often that is true, yes. But not all mutants. Mutation can also be chemical or radiation based.
Yep.
Just
stand next to the Skitarii long enough, you'll grow a third arm. And
it's important to point out the Imperium does not give a crap about the environment. They are full on like, hey, if we can pollute this entire ocean, we will do it.
What is it? In the Heresy, they use things called destroyer squads. And those destroyer squads specialized in destroying entire planets.
That's true. Professor Shep says, a book I enjoyed that shows Navigators is Rites of Passage by Mike Brooks. I also read this very recently. Very nice look into their culture and society. Agreed. If you want to know more about Navigators, Rites of Passage is an excellent book to get into the mind of a Navigator.
I also recommend just playing Cassius's missions.
In Rogue Trader.
Rogue Trader, yeah.
Yeah, the video game.
Like, why would you not? First off, her missions are awesome.
Right. So we're getting into we're 20 minutes from the end of the show here. We're getting into the period where we're going to be wrapping things up. So, Alexis, what is Warhammer 40K? What have we not talked about?
I think we covered most of it. And honestly, I still go back to what I said. I think Warhammer 40K is a community-driven game that has expanded beyond what it originally was intended for and has become a super popular and very, for the most part, like an incredible tabletop game, an incredible set of video games. Some are bad, but a good chunk are good, like 3. I gotta make the jokes. We have been blessed with a plethora of really good games recently. We now have like this community of painters, model makers, 3D designers, like even the stuff that has sprung off from this hobby, which other people have made entire businesses out of. Like I'm a commissioned painter, and it's become like this. I just say it's a community.
It's been my career for over 20 years.
Yeah.
I've literally made a living just working on Warhammer or talking about Warhammer or being a part of Warhammer video games. 40K.
In essence, it's also just a bunch of books that are vaguely connected to each other.
Here's an interesting question. Lenny0024 says, does the Inquisition have any authority over the Adeptus Custodes? The answer is no.
No.
Categorically no. So to be clear, in case you don't know, the Adeptus Custodes are the bodyguards of the Emperor. They are golden giants. They're bigger than Space Marines, tougher than Space Marines, stronger than Space Marines. They are the Stradivarius violin to a Space Marine mass-produced trumpet kind of thing. Okay.
Yep.
They are, and the Custodes, when they show up and do things, they have the authority of the Emperor in them. So that is above that of an Inquisitor. An Inquisitor would never be able to say that Custodes over there, arrest him. That would never happen, because
I mean, they could try to say that. It wouldn't end well.
Yeah, as Matt Mercer says, they can certainly try. It just won't. It's just. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to work.
I do like the conversations between Katarina Greyfax and a custodian. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and it showed like she has authority. And then she tried to she turned to the custodian and was just like, oh, nope, I know where I'm at.
Yeah, but in terms of like who's got the stronger authority, it's the custodian.
It's the Inquisitor. Not the Inquisitor. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. It's the custodian.
It's the custodian.
Over the Inquisitor.
Yeah, but to be clear, there's a hell of a lot more Inquisitors than there are custodians.
Yeah, there's only 10,000 custodians.
That we know of, yes.
Exactly.
And some custodians, when they get too injured or too old to continue doing what they're doing, they sometimes become Inquisitors.
Yeah, they become what are they called? Eyes of the Emperor.
Yeah, which anyway.
And we also don't know how many dreadnoughts they have.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
a lot of 40K is going to come down to us saying, it's complicated, or it depends, or this was once true but is no longer true. Necro Player 97, thank you, sir. I want y'all's opinion on something. Do you think Games Workshop would have better luck with Space Marine women if they drew a big lady stepping on a dude, so the freaks will help fight the weirdos?
That is a question and a half. I think at this point, GW doesn't want to do women as Space Marines. They tried back in the 80s. It didn't work. They tried a little bit more and it still didn't work. And now they kind of have the token female Space Marines with the Sisters of Battle, and they're kind of just set with that. But they did recently make Custodians women, so
there's no real out of universe reason why women can't be Space Marines. There's an in-universe reason, but it's kind of bullshit. So
yeah, they chose some science terms and didn't understand it, and they were just like, yeah, that's the reason.
If Custodians can be women, then Space Marines can certainly be women. I mean, it just makes sense. But yeah, that's my answer on that one. Here's another interesting one. Bojan Petrov 4732, thank you, sir. Coming up late to the party, but Deathwatch, under Inquisition or aside them? I can answer this with authority because the Deathwatch book is one I created. The Deathwatch work with the Inquisition and are largely under their authority. What does that mean? If an Inquisitor of the Ordo Xenos, because the Deathwatch fights aliens, if an Inquisitor of the Ordo Xenos shows up and says, I need a Deathwatch kill team to go do this, the Deathwatch is going to say, yes, sir. Okay, here you go.
Yep.
If an Inquisitor tries to say, okay, now, ritually kill yourselves to a squad of Deathwatch Space Marines, they're going to say, yeah, no, that's not happening. There's authority. There's guidance from the Inquisition. but the Death Watch as an organization is a partner. They are technically, like, if you want to say, say under is in parentheses, they are technically under the Inquisition, as in the Ordo Xenos basically considers them a chamber militant and uses them to go, do things against aliens. And the Death Watch exists to fight aliens, so they're perfectly fine with this. That is interests that are aligned.
I also like the idea that the Sisters of Battle got away with being the Sisters of Battle because the Inquisition was just like, whoa, hold on, we could use them.
Well, the Reign of Blood is a whole thing. We'll get into that. We will totally get into that. So yeah, the answer is largely under, but also beside. All right.
It's like a good partnership.
I agree.
Oh, the Terminus Decree. I knew this was going to come up.
So Chapman, 3377.
We've recently found out that the Terminus Decree states that if the Emperor is to leave the Golden Throne, the Grey Knights are to put him back. Now, I personally interpreted that as not his physical form. I think that they would go after his psychic form and return it to the Golden Throne. That's my interpretation of it. But I doubt the Grey Knights can actually take on the Custodes, the Sisters of Battle, the Black Templar, and the Sisters of Battle and the Sisters of Silence. And not only that, then they have to contend with some of the High Lords of Terra.
Don't forget the Nemesis Titans.
And the Nemesis Titans. And try to get through the Golden Throne.
Yeah, Terminus Decree is one of those aspects of the lore that is always going to be a question in my mind. Like, I feel like this is one of those things that we can endlessly debate.
Yeah.
Could the Grey Knights execute the Terminus Decree? Well, if they can't, it means a hell of a lot of time and effort was wasted. And the Grey Knights have a shitload of resources to get things done. So I'm going to say possibly. I'm not going to say likely, but I'm certainly going to say it's possible that they could execute the Terminus Decree.
My whole thing is, how many Grey Knights are there? Because they're not a Codex compliant chapter. There could be on equivalent to the Black Templar, where it's like 6,000.
So we don't know the number, to be clear. Yeah. We don't know the number. Are there as many Grey Knights as Black Templars? I'm going to say very unlikely. Grey Knights are a very specific
they're hard to train and everything.
They are not quite Custodes, but they are definitely a higher caliber than a standard Space Marine. It takes more time, it takes more effort to make them, and they tend to get killed because a lot of them fight demons.
And this is why there's not Primaris Custodians, Primaris Grey Knights. GW doesn't want to make them
yet. I will say.
Yeah, I know. We're definitely getting them. That's the natural progression.
I would be shocked if we don't get Primaris Grey Knights at some point.
I think what they're doing is they're just trying to empty their warehouses first, and then they're going to make them.
Quite possibly. And the Grey Knights figures do look really cool. I have a Grey Knights army. I should say this. And Psykers, while are becoming more common, are still rare. And it's I did say this earlier, that Psykers are becoming more common. That is true, but there are still a million worlds, trillions upon trillions, uncountable numbers of people, and maybe 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million could be a Psyker. So
here's a question for you, Ross.
Yeah.
Do the Grey Knights give a Grey Knight to the Death Watch?
No.
Are they the one and only chapter that doesn't?
The Grey Knights are an exception to a lot of things.
I do hate that one little tidbit of lore from the Death Watch where it's like only one chapter doesn't give to us, and it's like, so it's the Grey Knights, right?
Well, so Grey Knights specifically, this is all just part of what they're supposed to do. Grey Knights fight chaos. They fight demons. They fight the warp. They fight the enemy with beyond. The Death Watch fights aliens. They deal with the enemy without. That's why they're incompatible. What would a Grey Knight benefit? The reason why the Death Watch benefits
alien demons.
So the Death Watch benefits all chapters. The chapters that donate to the Death Watch, they get that guy back with all kinds of knowledge and techniques and strategies for fighting aliens. So all the chapters who donate to the Death Watch benefit from participating with the Death Watch. The Grey Knights, they don't benefit. We could talk about blanks or nulls.
Now, are there any blank Space Marines?
Yes.
Because, like, as far as I know, like, most blanks are taken either by the Sisters of Silence or the Officio Assassinorum.
So yes, most blanks end up either as Sisters or Assassins, or Inquisitors also love to have them in their
in the retinue.
And Road Traders love them. Yeah, Road Traders love them. So anybody who's powerful, like Lord, I'm sure if you pick any Lord of Terra, and they probably have at least one blank, if not more, in their retinues, in their entourages. Planetary governors might have them. It just depends on who knows about them and who can have access to one of them. But
let's explain blanks really quickly for people.
Go ahead.
So a blank is a person that is a null or soulless, though we don't know if they do or don't have a soul. They're just called this psychic nulls. They are unaffected by any type of attack or effect of psychic powers. Now, or the warp. Now, there are exceptions, like when Dracnion fought a bunch of blanks, he figured out how to beat them by attacking near the blank spot. So they can take, like, if you hit this concrete right here, they could die. But for the most part, demons can't see them. They appear as just a blank space. Humans all species are incredibly discomforted around them. They are seen as lower than garbage. Some, no matter what anybody says, they stink so much. Eldar can't stand them.
But they are incredibly valuable. That was the point I was making, is that nulls are.
There's a reason Caiaphas Cain has one.
Yeah, there's a reason why he doesn't mention that he's a blank to anybody, because if anybody powerful comes along, they're going to just snatch him up.
Yeah, they're going to take him.
So yeah, blanks are kind of anti-psychers, anti-warp. We're getting into the last bit, so I'm going to read one more super chat, and then we're done with super chats for now. Thank you, Puso Yo. Are there plans for what if streams? Yes,
there is.
If so, might be fun to explore the Dornian Heresy. Yes, it would. Dornian Heresy is cool. A fan-made alt history switching loyal and traitor legions. It has problems, that's true, but it's fun all the same. I like where your head's at, sir. We will be talking about all kinds of what ifs. We have a what if already on the schedule. Don't you worry about it.
What if the Emperor died?
So, Alexis, can you do me a favor and grab? There's a link in our show notes at the bottom there for the end. I just want to promote really quick. One of my friends, a guy named Mike Lafferty, has got a great product for RPG fans. If you're a role player,
this is about like the Cocaine Owlbear.
Cocaine Owlbear Christmas special. If you liked Cocaine Bear, check out Cocaine Owlbear. And Cocaine Owlbear.
That does work. Holy cow!
You should be able to just throw that into the banner. I think we can have a banner for it. Anyway, Alexis is going to bring up the link here in a second.
I posted it in the chat.
Oh, you did?
Posted to both.
Okay, great.
That was super cool. I didn't know that I could do that. That's awesome.
We'll have to figure out how we can run it across the bottom as well. But yeah, check out Cocaine Owlbear by Fainting Goat Games. It's a good product from a good guy. I do recommend it. And please check out my Patreon if you want to know about
it said
more
it
about
for
me.
a Ford. Hang on. How do I fix that? Wait, did it not work? Can you try to fix it real quick?
I put it just as the link alone there, and
okay. Tell us if that works. Works now. Yay! Go
Great.
Us. Go team. We got this.
So if you want to know more about me and what I'm working on, you can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/therosswatson. Alexis, what are some things you're up to these days?
I post irregularly on a lot of things, mostly YouTube and Instagram. So it's under Norn Queen Alexis. You can find me on just about everything. I do not use. I use Blue Sky as well.
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky. Ross Watson on Blue Sky.
But yeah.
Or actually, it's just Ross Watson. It's not the Ross Watson. Apologies. Ross Watson on Blue Sky is me. And I think all Lorebeards are on Blue Sky if you want to find us there for social media purposes. Alexis does have a pretty cool Instagram where she paints her models and shows off her cosplay. Do recommend that. And she has her own channel where she reviews, where she talks about grand tournament stuff, strategies, things like that.
I mostly just talk about random stuff. It's all 40K related, but it's very random. I am all over the place. And I do need to post there more.
I think I can say that we're both deeply, deeply grateful for all of you guys coming and showing up today to be part of our first stream.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, everybody. She does a much better heart than I. We have plans. We have so many plans. Oh, she can do the millennial heart. We have so many plans for the future. Alexis, do you want to pick one of our upcoming things just to drop as a quick, like, hey, keep an eye out for this?
I think they already know about the What If episode. But
they know there is one. I don't know if they know what the topic is.
I think it actually did get spoiled.
Oh, did it? Hey, chat, did you guys, have you seen the What If already?
I think the Wednesday one got spoiled to a bunch of people.
Oh, okay. Well,
so we won't talk about that one. That one was a mystery. Ooh.
Okay, but we do pick another topic that we're definitely going to cover.
Oh, God, we got to cover the Kroot. I want to get in on the Kroot. But,
Who are the Kroot is a topic we are going to discuss.
But I think my upcoming favorite one is going to be building a Space Marine chapter with you guys.
That's going to be super fun as well. I'm looking forward to that. Believe it or not, Fortune, which I know, trust me, I know, but they did come up with a really interesting Space Marine chapter called the Emperor's Nightmares, and I would like to talk a little bit about that because they use the chapter creation from Deathwatch to make a really interesting chapter. There's a group called the Eternal Warriors from the Bolter and Shadesword community that I really like. So there's a lot of really interesting chapters out there that people have made, fan-made chapters.
There's also Aaron Densky Bowden's army.
What
do they got? The Tome Keepers.
Oh, we should talk about them. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, we should if we get him on.
Well, we can, because I do know Aaron. He's a good guy. I will reach out to him and see if we can get him as a guest at some point in the future. Yeah. If you have any particular topics you'd like to see us cover, please don't hesitate to drop them into the comments because we read them. And we're going to be looking to expand the Lorebeards 40K line. We're going to have a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. And I for one, cannot wait.
Oh, making a Chaos Warband? Hell yeah.
Let's bring that one up.
That one is definitely going to be a thing.
Agreed. Great one. Yeah, and that's... Oh, wait. Oh, holy shit. One day I want to stream on the Slough. Yes. We should totally talk about the Slough.
I would definitely have to read up on them.
Oh my God, they're so cool. They're Alan Bly and John French created them. And if you know anything about Alan Bly, he is a freaking master of 40K lore. So that's going to be astonishing and super fun. So that's basically our stream. I mean, we got like a few more minutes.
So we just sit here.
Awkward silence. Awkward silence. Lean into it.
Yeah, I will build into a Slaanesh warband. That would be a lot of fun because I actually have some Slaanesh lore that I wanna dive into, and it revolves around a whole carnival and a jester at the middle of it.
Exorcists would be a fun one to talk about. They're a really cool chapter.
Exorcists, of course, yes.
Look at the cat. I like that one.
Look at this kitty cat. Look at him.
Adeptus Custodes Deep Dive. This would be a lot of fun because they are a really, really interesting organization. And Constantine Valdor has a lot of stuff going on in the lore.
Currently is crazy.
I can say this. If there's the Emperor, right? And then there's the Primarchs, Valdor is right here. He's not a Primarch, but he is almost a Primarch.
So, weird thing. He has the Primarch rules in Heresy.
That's
which is super cool. He's so powerful.
Yeah, Valdor is the strongest non-Primarch in the Imperium.
Oh my God, this is a great comment.
Other than the Imperium. Red Hunters, maybe the Walmart version of the Grey Knights. Oh God, the Red Hunters, yeah.
And yes, we'll be covering Necromunda,
Rainbow Warriors, maybe Space Sharks,
the Carcharodons, yeah.
Yeah. What about Necromunda?
There's not much to cover about the Rainbow Warriors.
My first introduction to Warhammer was a Path to Glory game in Oldhammer with the Slaaneshi Minotaur champion. Path to Glory was a really interesting series of articles in White Dwarf where these guys would make Chaos Warbands and play against each other and slowly build them and evolve them. The whole concept of building a force slowly over time comes from Path to Glory. And it is also really cool because it's an exploration of how factions that are worshiping the chaos gods, how they tend to act and have rivals or friendships or allies or enemies amongst themselves. It's really interesting stuff. And that's our stream. We're down to 10 seconds left. So y'all, I have really enjoyed it. Alexis?
So have I. It has been a ton of fun. It was awesome talking with you again. And all of you guys, I absolutely love all of you. Thanks for the great stream. Thanks for the intro into the first episode. You guys have been awesome.
Super excited. Keep an eye out for more Lorebeards 40K coming your way. And I am going to end the stream in now. Thank you guys. Bye-bye. Okay, stream's over.
Okay, that went really well, but I really have to pee.
Same. I'll catch you later.
Do we just want to talk about anything in the Discord, or are we just good to ditch?
I believe we're good to ditch.
Okay.
Victor's waving at you.
Hold on. I have a question.
Hurry up, we gotta pee.
Actually, no. This question would take too long. Go pee.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, later. Oh,